If it is the competition, it's always a good thing to take it out.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, September 2nd, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1065.
This is No Agenda.
Calling the shots on dueling funerals and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there's no funerals around here, and we're post-Zephyr, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
If we're not post-racial, we're post-Zephyr. We're always post... Remember, it just used to be simple. You could just be postmodern, and that was it.
Even that was kind of...
It was kind of iffy. Man, well, we did have dueling funerals. I was laughing my butt off.
Yeah, two of your favorite people.
Well, no, it was from a television production standpoint.
Oh, God.
From a network, the network producer running the show, here's pretty much how it went. Wow, this is great. So many celebrities at the Aretha Franklin funeral. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, look, there's Bill. Yes, that's great. And whoa, wait a minute. But McCain, he's coming off the plane. Wait a minute. But the celebrities over here. But McCain, we made him into the hero. So let's switch back. Okay, let's do a box in the corner. All right, any back over there because a celebrity coming in. Back to McCain. And then they're waiting for McCain's coffin to come out of the plane, and there was some malfunction. And the lift, the elevator didn't work. And so now we have no Aretha Franklin celebrities, and we're looking at like a sky box up against the plane on a scissor lift for 10 minutes. Because you want to cut away. It's like, oh, but if the casket's coming down, we can't cut away. All right, and no commercial breaks whatsoever. It was beautiful. It was just they and it wasn't even the funeral. It was just just hanging out for a little bit. And we're looking at the coffin. It was a whole day before anyone was going to say anything, and they had hyped him up so much as one of the only 31 Americans to ever get this kind of treatment that they could not go back to the true moneymaker, which was obviously Aretha's funeral.
Yeah, and the Ariana Grande. Breast rub.
I have some clips. I got some clips for you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Because you can be sure I don't.
No, I know you don't. Well, let's start with a little recap then. As Martha McCallum rarely get to play something stupid from Fox. Because it's either so stupid or maybe it's true. But Martha had a gaggle of women, and they were on a remote shoot. I don't know if they were in Detroit, but they were outside. And as a part of her panel, sitting out there in the elements, we had Marie Harf, who is she's now a Fox commentator. Remember Marie?
Yeah, I remember when they brought her over, and I've never seen her on Fox.
Yeah, she's been on a couple of times. Well, the reason you probably don't see is because neither you or I ever watched Sean Hannity's show, I'm sure. The minute I see that head come on, I'm like, no, I just can't.
Giant head.
Can't. And he doesn't even have the giant head box like on CNN. But anyway, so they discussed, in an odd way, very anti-hashtag Me Too, because that did come up as well. But there was also a guest that was kind of difficult for the media.
The guests ranging from world leaders to musical legends, and one especially controversial figure who was seated in the front row. Many people kind of wondering what the unapologetic anti-Semite, Louis Farrakhan, was doing up there. I am joined by Kelly Grace Torrance, Marie Harf, and Kylie Patterson. It was really such a moving. Jennifer Hudson was amazing, and Gladys Knight was amazing, but I did keep finding myself distracted.
I mean, they comment on it pretty much the way they do about the Oscars, the Grammys, or any other award show. Just, the performances were amazing. Just the performances were amazing.
By Louis Farrakhan, who was in every single shot. I'm thinking, what was he doing there? Who wants to start there?
Well, it's interesting you saw him because I looked in some of the coverage of this, and a lot of outlets, Variety, ABC, MSNBC, had pictures published on the website cutting him off. So they showed the front row with President Clinton.
That's your press freedom right there, everybody.
Wow.
Oh, that guy's.
I didn't know that.
We can't put him in. Cut him off. That's Farrakhan. We can't explain it. We don't know what's going on. Just cut him off.
Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and they cut Farrakhan off. And I thought that was very telling that they did that. Clearly, they thought, wow, why is this guy there too? They had the same questions we all.
Yeah. Why was he
spot
so
of a guest
front
of
and
honor
center?
and right near Bill Clinton?
In something that's supposed to be about Aretha Franklin became, I thought, in many ways about some of these gentlemen who were right behind.
But I think
Kylie?
We forget that she was really at the head of the liberation movement for years. I mean, she respects natural woman.
Yeah, this is interesting. The liberation, does she mean the women's liberation movement?
It's news to me.
Well, she was just about to explain that that's what the song was about.
We forget that she was really at the head of the liberation movement for years. I mean, she respects natural woman. That was a part of the movement.
What does that have to do with Louis Farrakhan?
Well, he was also a part of the movement.
I know, but I mean...
Louis Farrakhan, he was also a feminist. Come on, don't you understand? He was there because he's a feminist, part of the women's liberation movement. And or does she mean the?
This is more like CNN than anything.
His history is his.
It's mixed, but at the end of the day, this is her funeral. I mean, it's her choice who she wants there, how she wants people sitting.
You think she arranged?
No. She didn't leave a will, but she knew exactly who she wanted there.
Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Louis Farrakhan to be up there.
I think she wanted them at her funeral. Yes.
There was also this moment with Ariana Grande.
Here we go.
She's dancing, and then, these guys are like staring at her from the back.
Now, they're going to make light of this situation. And I had a conversation with the keeper about it. Because I saw, like, I don't know, he's just holding on to her, but I guess it was too long. Or if you hold me here and you'll know that you're touching my breast. I'm like, maybe, I don't know, but regardless.
Did she grab his hand and pike it up? I don't think so.
No. Well,
generally speaking, when you grab a woman, you just kind of snuggle with her on stage for some unknown reason. But if you feel like you're going to do that, you usually grab them by the waist, don't you? To grab the waist because it's the easiest part.
Yeah, but she's also
grab their breast.
But I don't know if it's hard to tell.
She is short.
She's 4'9", so he puts his arm around her, and grabs it. Now, I couldn't find the clip anymore, of course, but
and he also could grab at the shoulder. That's a very comfortable thing to do.
That would have been more appropriate, I think. But
yeah, the shoulder. Yeah, the shoulder.
But he did somewhere apologize by saying, if I crossed some border there or something. I guess he did. When I heard him try to apologize,
also condemned for calling her a Taco Bell special.
Here we go.
He's dancing, and then these guys are like staring at her from the back, and of course that was all over. Look at these guys.
See, now it's funny. Now when you have Bill Clinton, who actually assaulted some women, I think isn't that historical record at this point? Or
raped a couple.
Well, I don't want to go that far, but now they're just laughing at the guy. To me, he just looked like regular old Bill, all goofy, just a mess. Because that's what he's looked like ever since Hillary ran for president again. He just he doesn't look very healthy. He's sitting there. But now they're laughing about it. I don't understand. You're confusing this white man.
I don't know. Marie? Okay, what's your reaction?
If I were Ariana Grande, I would have worn something longer. Not because of the men. Realize she was.
You see, and now it's the woman's fault because she should have worn something longer.
Shaming.
Slut shaming. I don't understand anymore. I don't understand.
Going to be standing in front. No.
It's like a bad version of American Idol.
That is not appropriate to wear to a funeral. Even Aretha Franklin's funeral, she could have gotten something a little longer with some sequins.
And that's Marie Harf, former spokeshole for the State Department. They should have sequins, a little bit longer, slut-shaming her. I'm so confused.
She was wearing black. It was fine.
Great. It's not her fault that those guys were leering at her.
I don't think they were all
all leering. It's just an awkward.
The look on
place.
Bill Clinton's face
Yes,
is priceless.
There's a lot of
familiar
memes.
but priceless.
There's a lot of memes online right now about Bill Clinton and Jesse Jackson talking and what they were possibly saying in that moment we're watching. So,
good Lord.
Nice
All right.
but Aretha would
This is what they were saying. Piece of ass. Yeah, Bill.
have loved this. It was a great day.
Oh, she would have loved the performances.
Yes,
no doubt about it. No, the performances were beautiful, but that was like a comedy of errors back there, something going on.
What?
It's like a hen house, these women.
RESPICT.
Then we had some of the speeches themselves. Now, missing from the Aretha Franklin funeral, because, of course, he was in Washington, D.C. preparing.
Well, let's stop before you go there. Let's get back to the original moaning and groaning, which was Farrakhan. Why was he there? Did anybody in the media from the newspaper?
I'll answer right now. No. Not a single one. No.
And simply ask him.
Say, why are you here? No.
Are you good friends of Aretha? A little interview, a little one. You know, he's a media whore. He doesn't mind talking to the media.
I did not see a single interview, any quotes, anything.
So just a lot of speculation. Nobody bothered to ask him.
I think it would be a great question. Maybe not a great question, but it would be
not a great question, but a good question.
It would be one of interest. Yes, of course I wanted to know, but no one asked. It was just there. It was just problematic. So cut him off. Don't ask questions. Just cut him off. It's your press freedom. That's what you do with your press freedom. You have the freedom to decide not to ask questions.
Somebody out of a picture.
Chop someone out of a
just
picture.
Like Stalin used to do.
Oh, no. So President Obama was not there. If I am not mistaken, didn't Aretha Franklin sing at his inauguration?
I believe maybe, yeah, it's possible.
Let me just double check that.
It'd have to be the 2008 inauguration.
The first one, yeah.
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Yes, Aretha Franklin performed at. But now, which was that? Was that the 2008? I think it is. Yeah, that was his. Yes, and she performed right after his inauguration at the on the Mall. She did "My Country 'Tis of Thee."
Huh.
So anyway,
why wasn't Obama there?
Well, for him not to show up because he had to make a choice with the dueling funerals. Now, he had to be in Washington. He had to be a part of the lead-in, and of course, he was going to be one of the featured speakers, as John McCain had requested. And it's hard for me to believe that Aretha had said, "I want Farrakhan there. I want Al there. I want Bill to speak."
I get it. I can answer the question.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he was seated where he was sitting. Farrakhan, a black Muslim, was in place of Obama. He's in place of Obama. He was taking Obama's place.
You're right. That would have been Obama's spot on the stage, too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Aretha would have wanted the president, the first African-American president, to attend her funeral.
So Obama called up Farrakhan and said, "Hey, can you fill in for me, brother?"
Hey, bro. Bro, can you fill in for me? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Explains it. We figured it out.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. Yeah, done. This is all right. Well, we can just finish. 13 minutes of show. Good night, everybody. So Obama didn't show up. He sent a note. Yeah, he did. He sent a note.
Well, you didn't even send a video note?
No, not even an iPhone thing. Obama is so political. That's why he knows McCain's record. He knows.
McCain hated him.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But Eric Dyson, he had the speech of all dueling funerals, better than Obama's at McCain's ceremony, because he not only butt-slammed President Obama, he added at least 18 new terms to Trump rotation. So, do you have your number 2 pencil at the ready?
Let me find a good, the right pencil.
You will need it. Here we go.
Then in that belly of blackness in Detroit, without apology or excuse, that embrace of her blackness led her to be political. We got all kind of music now that ain't got nothing to do with nothing except cars and money and glory.
I love it. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing except cars and money and glory.
I ain't mad at that, but she was about getting Angela Davis out of jail. She was about working with Martin Luther King Jr. and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. She was about transforming the existence of black America.
Preach!
Now Negroes scared to say they black. Scared to show up at a two-black place. That's why some black folk ain't here today. They sending letters. They don't want to get up in this blackness.
Obama?
Yes,
Obama?
yes. And the crowd goes, wow.
They don't want to feel the nasty power of this blackness. We are black in Detroit. We don't care. Take your shoes off. Dip it in the water. Get baptized.
Woohoo! Hello, and not a single news outlet that I saw reported on this as a massive slam towards Obama. I mean, not just, about his blackness even. I think it's very significant and extremely newsworthy, but who am I? Doesn't matter because now we get into the good stuff. Yes?
Yeah, no, I was just saying you're not an editor.
No, well, of course not. I'm a podcaster. Hello.
And then...
Get ready.
This orange apparition
Wow.
had the nerve to say she worked for him. You lugubrious leech. You doppelganger of deceit and deviance. You lethal liar. You dim-witted dictator. You foolish fascist.
Did you get it? Did you write them all down?
Yeah, I got it down. There are all a lot of adjectives, but there's nothing new in the rotation.
But it's alliteration to the max. I really
well,
like
that's fine. He's just a very
doofus doppelganger. And
She ain't worked for you. She worked above you. She worked beyond you. Get your preposition right. Then he got the nerve to say he gonna grab it.
I think he's talking about grab her by the pussy. I think, and I'm not. It was very.
No, that's what he's saying, but he's talking about. I don't think he's referring to her. I think he's just.
Oh, I know, but it was still because he'll. Yes, you're right, but he is making reference to grabbing it, to grabbing the pussy.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing was bizarre.
He got the nerve to say he gonna grab it. That ain't what Aretha Franklin said. I'ma give you something you can feel. Like the brothers in the street say, tap lightly, like a woodpecker with a headache.
I just left that in because I liked it. I mean, that's a funeral. I want that kind of funeral. I want Reverend Manning to go up there and talk shit about other people who were not there, who snubbed me, and then just say something nasty about whoever's president. I don't care who it is. That's a funeral, man. That's great. Very nice.
Go on.
No, this is the only piece you needed. The guy goes on for 18 minutes, but this was what you really wanted to hear. Now
what's his name? What's his preacher? What's his name?
Yeah. This Michael Eric Dyson.
Oh,
you know this guy. You see him, you're like that guy. So the press was having kind of this McCain-gasm, while because he got flown in from Arizona on Air Force 2. And, it's just the whole thing, they'd built him up to such a degree and he got this, and I don't even know how that works, but I mean, how do you get this type of ceremony? It's just everyone says, shoot, it's going to be one of those. Let's do it. Or is that really planned? I mean, does anyone have to sign off on this stuff?
Well, we know Trump didn't.
No, we wouldn't think so.
So the military, I have no idea, or the McCain family. I have no idea. Mimi thinks this was all done as a promotion for one of the McCain girls or his wife to run for senator.
Oh, well, I'm sure that she's at least going to step in until the midterms, wouldn't she? Isn't that quite normal?
You don't step in; it has to be assigned by the governor.
Yeah, the governor would say step in.
The governor would have to assign her.
Mm-hmm.
the interim position. He's not going to do it. Guy's wife. I mean, what kind of a screwball monarchy are we living under? She's got no qualifications.
We'll see. We'll see what like McCain. He had all the qualifications, but obviously the whole thing, to me, it was obvious. All of the bombast was purely political, just to be able to say, "Oh yeah, Trump, this guy's a hero." That's how I felt it.
No, I agree with you. It's all about Trump's snide remark that, as far as he's concerned, heroes don't get captured.
And where were all of the military people lauding John McCain? I didn't see one. How many military people went up there and spoke? Mattis, man, he had to go be a part of it. I know that all the military guys I know, like, I wouldn't be a part of that. So
it was pretty much just a Trump slam.
It was very much a Trump slam, and I think John McCain would have loved that. I think the whole thing
absolutely.
So I'm torn, but I'm kind of happy. It's like, this is what he wanted. That's what he got. Now, again, the press was just so great, and John McCain.
The guy's a warmonger. He's a warmonger, but the press is all in.
So,
God, what is wrong with these people?
So Alison Camerota has an interview with John Sununu, and he used to be the Attorney General, I think, under Bush?
I don't know.
I believe so.
I don't remember. He worked for Reagan for a long time. I know that.
So I'll
look him up.
So, and talking about, just talking about McCain and what's going on, and all of a sudden it turns very, very, very sour. Here's the setup to this interview.
Joining us now to talk about the legacy of John McCain is former New Hampshire Governor John Sununu. He was chief of staff to President George H.W. Bush. Good morning, Governor.
H.W.
Morning, Allison. How are you?
I'm well. Oh, my gosh. Just remembering how much time John McCain invested in New Hampshire and how much he loved retail politics there.
Do you like how she's articulating the love for John McCain?
And then mixing it up and the stump speeches. Jeff Jacoby in the Boston Globe this morning calls him New Hampshire's third senator. What are your thoughts?
That's very accurate. If you're involved in politics at all in New Hampshire, you certainly do get to know, at least on some level, those who are running for president. And John McCain grew to embrace the style of campaigning that works well in New Hampshire.
Okay, so far so good. And this is, the guy's he's chill. He's been asked to come on, talk about John McCain. He's perfectly happy to talk about John McCain. But then...
So, Governor, what do you think about President Trump rejecting the practice of putting out an official White House statement about John McCain's service and sacrifice?
Look, that was printed in the Washington Post, and I have to be honest with you, I don't give much credence to what I read.
We also have that reporting.
Yeah, well, same thing applies, Alice.
Governor, you come on CNN.
Listen, Governor, I'm going to talk to you in my stern voice now, Governor, even though we invited you on. Governor.
Yeah, well, same thing applies, Alice.
Governor, you come on CNN, and we appreciate you coming on CNN, and we appreciate your take on it. But I don't appreciate you denigrating our reporting. I think that we have excellent reporters here. But are you saying that you don't want to believe that? You don't want to believe that President Trump would do that about John McCain?
I'm saying that I don't want to comment on a report that I haven't satisfied myself is correct.
And if that report were true...
I'm not going to answer the hypothetical.
It's not hypothetical. This is our reporting. We have rock solid...
No, it's not hypothetical. This is our reporting. We have excellent sources. You come on CNN and you dare question our sources? The sources who actually say that they were lying, those sources, it's in the backdrop of the Lanny Davis source. This is pretty funny.
I'm not going to answer the hypothetical.
It's not hypothetical. This is our reporting. We have rock-solid sources
Allison,
in the White House that there was a statement that was drafted. You asked me to come on to talk about John McCain. I'm here to talk about John McCain as I remember him. I'm not here to talk about the press's handling of a difference between the White House and the press corps at this time. It's not the press's handling. It's President Trump's handling of John McCain's death.
Okay. Look, John McCain was a great American who deserves to be recognized as a great American. He is being recognized by his colleagues and his friends around. Melania Trump has certainly put out an exceptionally strong statement outlining the appreciation for his service. The White House has recognized the sorrow of the family, and I think Americans ought to be looking at the positive side, not trying to create a division amongst people who are in joint sorrow, mourning a great America.
Oh, this is just, you should have seen her face. She just couldn't believe what she was hearing, that he would not comment on their obviously rock-solid sources. Rock solid.
And to be clear, the press didn't create whatever division exists that President Trump feels that allowed him to spike the statement that General John Kelly wanted him to put out about John McCain's sacrifice. The press didn't invent that.
Everybody reflects their concerns in ways that are consistent with whatever they feel. I've expressed my concern the loss of John McCain, who I think was a great American hero in the military, a great American hero in the political process, and frankly, a great American hero on a personal level to people that knew him well.
You're not alone, Governor. So many people feel that way.
Who is this
so
woman?
So many people echo that.
She's, what's her name? Alison Camerota. When you see her, you recognize her immediately.
God, she just seems like a stiff.
Possibly.
And that's why it is notable that the president doesn't.
Well, I'm here to talk about my friend John McCain. You appear to be here to talk about something that you think you can exploit, and I find that rather unpleasant.
Governor.
Again.
Huh.
We don't have to try to exploit something. This is a fact. This is a truism.
Truism.
Well, why are you?
It's a truism. Why? When did this word really get this kind of play? This truism. You can say fact. Fact is okay, or it's the truth. But what is this truism? It's a truism. Did you take that cookie, Tommy? No, Mommy. And that's a truism.
Governor. Again. We don't have to try to exploit something. This is a fact. This is a truism.
Well, why are you dwelling on it? I have given you my comments. I have given you my comments on it, and I'm here to talk about John McCain.
Fair. And I just reject your premise that this is something the press has created. It has been customary probably since George Washington was president.
George Washington.
To honor a war hero.
You should make your inquiries directly to the White House if you want a direct answer.
Governor John Sununu, we appreciate you coming on and giving us your thoughts about what John McCain meant to you and to New Hampshire. Thank you very much.
It's a great loss for the country and for the world.
Indeed.
That guy's never coming on my show again. I'll never have that guy on.
God, I don't know why Ann would go on her show. She's not even very pleasant. She's got a stilted style that's just unprofessional.
Nasty, isn't it?
Oh, the worst.
And then
probably makes more money than we do combined.
Oh, yeah. And then finally, Lindsey Graham did everything wrong. Just everything wrong. The New York Times even wrote a piece. Let me see if this must have been an editorial. Let me just open this up for a second. Was this an editorial? No, this is by Dana Milbank. So it's an opinion, yes. Rest in peace, Lindsey Graham. We lost 2 mavericks within a week. On Saturday, we lost the legendary John McCain. On Tuesday, we lost his loyal sidekick, Senator Lindsey O. Graham. Oh, Graham remains alive and well, but after serving for 2 decades as Robin to McCain's Batman, Graham buried whatever remained of his own reputation for iconoclasm even before his partner's funeral. Because he had the audacity to go tell people what he thought and what Trump said about his thoughts. And he's not on board.
Senator, people who know I cover you as a journalist, who know I know you, ask me more than anything else the following question. How can Lindsey Graham be the man and politician that John McCain was and strive to be even more so and play golf with Donald Trump, be there for Donald Trump, and frankly, sometimes carry the water of Donald Trump?
Carry the water of Donald Trump, which of course is a truism. And it's also...
How does he carry the water for Donald Trump?
Well, I think she this is Dana, by the way, Dana Bash from CNN.
She sounds just like the other woman. A milieu is creating a certain style of voice.
Yes. Oh, yes. This comes from carrying water for Putin, which is a favorite of the cable news network. So,
yes, carrying water for
Putin. So now it's water for Trump because Trump is Putin, is Hitler, is Stalin, etc.
What's your answer to that question?
It's pretty simple. If you knew anything about me, I want to be relevant. I want to make sure that this president, Donald Trump, who I didn't vote for, ran against, is successful. We went to President-elect Obama's side in Chicago, John and I.
I don't know who he voted for, but...
He's a Republican. He's supposed to vote for the Republican candidate.
He did. Look,
did he vote for Hillary? This is a question I'd ask immediately.
Who did you vote for? Yeah. Well,
he said he didn't vote for Trump, so he told us something about his voting. So let's get to the bottom of it. Who do you vote for?
Well, this is also a part of what we in America certainly do whenever someone is saying something that could, in some way, the only people who don't do it are us, in some way be misconstrued as defending Trump or even giving just a small inkling of an idea that maybe you sometimes consider what Trump does in a different light than just Stalin, Hitler, evil dictator, then you have to say either, look, I didn't vote for him, but, or you can say, look, I certainly don't agree with everything he says, or you can say, look, some of the things he says are just horrible, but you got to do that because otherwise you can't deliver commentary in the mainstream media. You just can't. So this, and even Lindsey Graham, who I think is brave here, certainly for him, he just can't. He has to throw something in like, I didn't vote for him.
Against is successful.
Which means he's a traitor to his party.
We went to President-elect Obama's side in Chicago, John and I. What can we do to help you, Mr. President? I regret the relationship between the two. John is my dearest friend in the world, and I'm going to try to help President Trump. And I will, because I think country first means that. And if he'll listen, I'll talk to him. I've enjoyed my time with him. When he says something bad about John, it pisses me off. He called yesterday after my speech, and he couldn't have been nicer. He said, that was very sad. I just want to let you know that you did right by your friend. I said, thank you, Mr. President.
The president called you?
Yes, yes, he did. Just right out of the blue.
He called you?
And, to those who want me to say the only way you can honor John McCain is to fight Donald Trump and try to kick him out of office, I don't agree. I'm going to do what I think is best for the country, using what John taught me about the country.
No, there you go. Yeah. And
he's dead to me.
Yeah, well, yes, he's dead to the New York Times. They literally said, rest in peace, Lindsey Graham. I mean, I understand the metaphor and it's, it's tongue in cheek, but, it's like, really? Really, 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 really? Nasty. Just nasty.
These guys are off the rails.
Yeah.
So I've been having these, I want to play a couple of clips and I've got some conclusion because I come to a new reason that these guys are out to get Trump.
A new reason?
Well, I mean, it's probably the reason, but it's not a reason we've ever discussed.
Okay.
And it just kind of just fell on my lap when I was listening to Jim Jordan, comes on and he's yakking away about one thing or another.
Jim Jordan he's a senator?
No, he's a congressman from Ohio who's going to be a senator, or he hopes to.
Uh-huh.
He's the big Trump supporter, and he's.
He was the guy that got. They said he knew about abuse, and he should be in jail.
What?
Yeah, Jim Jordan isn't the guy that he apparently knew about some abuse at the athletic department at the college, and he should have known, and he should have said something.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Which didn't pan out. Didn't pan out.
No, it didn't work out.
They tried to smear him with a Me Too. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, because he's an important up and comer.
Yeah, so you got to smear him, and it didn't stick. The smear did not stick.
Not at all. So he's talking about. He's on one of the committees that got to do the secret testimony of Bruce Orr.
Ah, yes. who was a number 4 guy in the Justice Department who was
he's still there.
Passing on. He's still there. Oh, he's passing on the Steele information after the FBI had fired
his wife's
Steele.
Working for him, and so let's listen to this little discussion. I think it's kind of interesting, but it brings in another interesting. I'm using the word too often. Point that I need to bring up.
Yeah.
Go.
So you spoke to Bruce Orr yesterday. The president said this about him in a tweet. How the hell is Bruce Orr still employed at the Justice Department? Disgraceful and witch hunt. Rachel Maddow last night was very concerned about the Department of Justice potentially losing Bruce Orr, and you guys grilling him yesterday behind closed doors. Here's what she said.
I don't know exactly what these targeted attacks by the White House and congressional Republicans will ultimately do to the capabilities of the Justice Department and the FBI when it comes to fighting things like Russian intelligence operations in the United States and Russian organized crime and Russian money laundering through American real estate.
Any collusion? So Bruce Orr was key to all that, and she's very worried that our national security will be in peril if you guys bully him and he ends up losing a job.
What we should be worried about is Bruce Orr, senior official at the Justice Department's wife, was working for the firm hired by the Clintons to put together the dossier. And we know the dossier was the key to all of this. And Bruce Orr, Peter Strzok told us in the hearing 5 weeks ago, Martha, Bruce Orr is the guy who funneled parts of the dossier to the FBI. His wife's working for the Oppo research firm Fusion GPS, who's been hired by the Clinton campaign. And we know the dossier was taken to the court. And I'll tell you what we got confirmed yesterday. When they went to the court, the FBI knew 3 important things, and they didn't disclose this to the court. They knew the Orr's involvement in production of the dossier. They knew that Christopher Steele had this extreme bias against the president, and they knew who paid for the dossier, and they didn't disclose those key facts to the court when they went there to get the warrant to spy on Carter Page and the Trump campaign.
That's pretty remarkable. It is remarkable. When someone who works at the Department of Justice is bringing information, and I heard, basically giving the thumb drive, handing over stuff straight from Fusion GPS over to the FBI and saying, here's what we got. And he also admitted in this testimony yesterday that he felt that Steele was biased. So they all know that on that side of the equation. But then when they apply for the FISA warrant, they don't mention that. They don't include that part of, at least, you would say all, but a good majority of what they're basing the FISA warrant on is not, it hasn't been disclosed that the person who told them is very biased.
Okay. Nothing new, really, here.
Well, to me, there was.
Okay. What part was new?
Russian money laundering. I think, because I was thinking about this, who was the big money laundering guy? Who did you guys know the most about money laundering that was in the business there at the late years of the Obama administration? Who was maybe associated with HBSC, one of the biggest money laundering? Comey knew about money laundering because he worked with HBSC, which is the biggest money launderer in the world. And if you look into it, real estate money laundering, which is what Rachel brought up, and I'm not even sure why she did it. Which is
what Russians like to do.
Is bigger than bank money laundering.
Huh.
And I think this has been a witch hunt of sorts, but I think Comey knew that the Trump organization, because he knew the competition. Right. Hey, who's our competition?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, keep going.
Who's the competition? Well, this Trump guy, this guy's kicking ass. He's got all these deals. He's got them all over the world. And if you look into it, you go to Google and start looking up money laundering, how to do it in real estate. There's a number of good articles.
Well,
not with the how.
Don't you put the money into a trust?
There's 10 ways. Okay. 10 ways to Sunday. I'm just going to read a couple of things so you get a clue about this. Real estate is an established method of money laundering internationally, and the Finance Action Task Force, FATI, has recognized that the real estate sector is a high-risk sector for money laundering, and it frequently attracts criminals who want to monitor or launder money. So why is it easier to launder money through real estate than banks?
Why is it?
Well, here we go. It's simpler through real estate than other avenues because of the related governance. In the United States, for example, real estate brokers and agents are exempted from performing due diligence over the buyer. Australia, there's no reporting requirements over real estate brokers and lawyers. And apparently China does all its money laundering through Australia. United Kingdom, any foreign company can buy property in the UK without having an in-country presence. It goes on about, and there's no reporting. So the global,
that just if I can just say that I remember is true is because when we were living in the UK, at some point we were looking to buy a home, and not being a resident, I basically just had a green card, but not being a full-on resident. It wasn't possible. There was a whole bunch of problems. It could be an offshore company. I recognize some of this.
It goes on, this report says that the Global Illicit Finance Flows Report estimates that China, Russia, and India are the top 3 countries receiving ill-gotten money moving out of the United States. They don't talk about moving into the United States. Right. But a lot of the money laundering is going in the other direction. It's a profitable business. We have a lot of drug dealing in this country. And as you pointed out before, the banks benefited the most, but maybe...
And certainly HSBC. HSBC literally benefited from drug money.
And there are billions and billions of dollars of illicit drug money that needs to be laundered in this country, probably more than any other country. Although apparently the Chinese.
So how does it work? Someone shows up and says, "Trump, I want to buy an apartment." Okay, that's $5 million. He gives you $5 million cash, I would presume.
No, you have to get into the details. It becomes they have 8 methodologies listed. One is cash deposits, the easiest and most common way used by amateur money launderers. You use cash to buy property. Renovation and selling as high-end property, Trump Tower. In direct payment.
Renovations, nice.
Yeah, renovations a good way. A direct payment using a loan or a mortgage. Undervaluation of property, and it's like an innocent person.
And then all he has to do is turn around and sell it. And the price doesn't matter,
right?
Because he keeps whatever
There's leasing
the
scams,
was.
Overseas ownership scams, excessive selling. So let's take a look at it from this perspective. Comey is a money launderer, or was related, and he's not one personally, but he worked at a bank that is notoriously one of the biggest.
And weren't the Clintons also involved in HSBC ancillaries?
I think the Clintons know about this too.
Yeah.
I think all these guys do. There's a corrupt operation running this country. They see the Trump organization. I don't know if they have any evidence or proof or anything in between.
Well, I'm doing research in real time. HSBC donated $81 million to the Clinton Foundation.
Why? So Hillary would shut up when she got elected.
The charitable foundation, this is from The Guardian, run by Hillary Clinton and her family, has received as much as $81 million from wealthy international donors who were clients of HSBC's controversial Swiss bank. Well, I mean, the easy way is you send $81 million to the Clinton Foundation. No one looks at their books, and you poop it out somewhere else, and it's like $75 million. And here's your money. Yeah. You go get it in Africa from the vaccination people.
There's a lot of ways. I don't know how to do I don't know the intricacies of it.
Well, we better learn, because the Curry Dvorak money laundering real estate group is already LLC'd, baby.
So now we're taking a look at. So this is why they locked up Manafort, figuring that he must know something about the method, about some of this, even though he didn't work for Trump's organization. But then they grabbed Trump's bookkeeper at the of the Trump organization.
Because they want to know how the money flows. Yes.
So they grabbed this guy, and now they got him.
And they give him immunity, because we know that this is going on in every real estate company, of course. Right? Got it.
So I'm thinking the following. Based on something I heard him talk, but I didn't clip it because I didn't think about it until I heard this. Rachel drop this little gem about how Bruce Orr is the guy behind the research into money laundering. And and so that's why they want to keep him at the Justice Department, and she's all upset about it. So somebody told her this, because she doesn't say something like that out of the blue, and she's in the circles.
Right.
Because she's a high, we get our sources to tell us different things. She has her sources, and she's in Washington, D.C. and New York, where you get to hear all this stuff on a daily basis.
Whole different level of sources, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and so they said, yeah, we're out to get him because he's money laundering.
All right, so let's put. Do you have more? Or you want to put this together now?
No, I got a couple more. I don't know more clips.
Well, hold on. I need more yarn to string between the nails in the wall. Okay, go.
So let's think that here's the thing that John Dean said. I want to recall.
Who's John Dean?
John Dean is the guy who turned turtle on the Nixon administration. It was the first guy to help bring Nixon down. He was his lawyer.
Ah, okay.
And so Trump's lawyer has gone for 30 hours, and he's going to quit now. And Trump says it's fine. He doesn't have any. Trump is extremely confident.
Yeah.
That there's no problem here. And John Dean made a very interesting comment on a interview on one of these shows, which I think is pertinent. He said that Trump's lawyers, they don't know anything. And they have to kind of deconstruct and reconstruct and deconstruct and reconstruct to try to figure out what the hell's going on, because Trump never tells them anything.
Right.
These deals are all done by Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's smart enough to know that if you're going to be involved in some sort of business like this, just to stay in business and to keep your organization alive, you can't. There's not a memo about it.
No.
Who knows what's going on?
There's not going to be an email or anything. It's just going to be, hey, I'll see you at the corner with a brown bag.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's that. And so Trump, they've got nothing on him. And he might, by the way, have never done anything, but there's just this sense that his whole organization is somehow because it's so big and it's international and it has all the earmarks. Golf courses, by the way.
Oh, yes. You know what fits perfectly into this? Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin. Golf courses are used by the Yakuza, and as more than they even use it for more than money laundering, and there's some elements of this with Trump's operations. The Yakuza have most of these really interesting golf courses, the best golf courses in Japan. They tried to buy Pebble Beach here in Monterey.
Really?
And they were kind of pushed out because people know about this and they know what they were going to do with Pebble Beach. And they actually announced they were going to do this. And what they do is they have extremely high annual fees. You have to pay like $10,000 to $100,000 a year to belong to the club.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically what happens in Japan is that if you like walk down the street and step on some Yakuza's foot and offend them, you end up having to pay tribute by taking out a membership.
You will become that's kind of the version of the Sharpton shakedown, only you get killed.
It's a variation.
Yeah.
And all these shakedowns are the same. So you have to be a member now. So now it's $10,000 to $100,000 a year to become a member. And this is your tribute to these guys because you stepped on his foot. They were going to buy the Pebble Beach in Monterey. They already talked about bringing the club fees to $10,000 to $20,000 a year and maybe go higher. And that was kind of the tip off when somebody said, hey, here's the scam they're playing here. Now, Trump's fees are very expensive too, but there's no evidence that it's because it's a tribute to Trump. It's like maybe access. Who knows? We don't know. But it all adds up to somebody who sees everything in terms of crime, which would be people like Mueller, Comey to a lesser extent.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just think he's a bad guy. And it's from the beginning. And the bad guy part of it is this money laundering. And they're going to do everything they can to see if they can get to the core of it.
Let me play this back. So first we're asserting that there's gambling going on there. I.e., in real estate, there's a lot of money laundering. Yeah, very shocked about this. But we've seen New York in particular.
Wait, another element. Giuliani's his right-hand man now. And Giuliani, the ex-mayor of New York, don't kid me about,
his
to get
power,
to that position.
His power.
He's got to be connected.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is much bigger than we've ever even really thought about it. But what happened was Comey and the gang know all about Trump as the money launderer. And anyone just stay in the middle of Manhattan and look around, you can see there's all these apartments, luxury apartments starting at a minimum of $2 million that are empty. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But Comey's in the game. And he's been doing running his own racket, maybe with the Clintons. Maybe that's what he's most worried about is the $81 million. Let's just say that was somehow some laundering deal, because the Clintons have been doing this, and with Russia, for sure, with Russia. We know this may be where Browder comes in. Who knows? But Comey just sits there and goes, we can't have a horrible guy like that. So maybe he was actually pure in his thinking, because he says, I'm one of these guys. I'm a horrible person. We can't have this horrible type of person be president. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but then he was going to have Hillary?
Well, if we're going to have to choose between horrible people, and this really is the lesser of two evils, maybe he wanted the launderer he knew. Yeah, the devil you know versus the launderer you don't. Yeah. But is that really... I mean, is that really the reason? Or is it just more like, holy crap, we can't... Or he'll uncover us? How about that? He knows the game. He'll find it. He'll uncover it, and we'll be done with.
Well, Trump talked about this when he was running. He says, I know because I've been giving campaign donations, and he had all these implications that he knew how the system worked better than anybody because he was on top of the system. And he may have been talking about more things than one. And yeah, perhaps. And if it is the competition, it's always a good thing to take it out.
I'd give you clip of the day if you had a clip. That was good. Yeah. I like that. So what do we need to look out for? Then
I think we just keep this in mind. And
all eyes on Comey, for sure. Still all eyes on Comey.
Yeah, Comey's off the rails.
Well, that's very interesting. I just
thought it was a different way of looking at things.
And I need to revisit the Comey story with HSBC, because that was quite the mess that he was in there. And somehow no one got indicted of anything.
No.
The bank paid some $1 billion fines.
Nobody got indicted for anything that has to do with any banks.
Yes, one of our producers sent us a very long interview. It's a podcast on I think it's called Intercepted, the Jeremy Scahill. An interview with Cy Hirsch, and I was trying to chop it up this morning, but it was just too much, and he would go off on these tangents. So I'm gonna try.
Hirsch is completely out of
control. Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Very difficult to edit.
I'll try again for Thursday, but he's making some claims in there that I think you can't just
what
about. Well, he knows about the criminal activity surrounding 9/11, and he says this. I've been on this story. I have not stopped. It's an effing great story, and it was people enriching themselves.
Well, let's take another look with Trump and real estate and Comey and banking, and knowing that, according to this report, banks and real estate are the two major competitors when it comes to money laundering worldwide.
Right.
And you have the Obama administration noting, even during that, after the collapse of the banking system pretty much in 2008, putting nobody in jail.
Right.
Ever,
Zero.
That has to do with the bank. Let's assume that, and he brought Comey in from a corrupt bank. And so let's say that the Obama administration was a banking-oriented operation. They're going to protect the bankers, and Trump is protecting the real estate people. So we have real estate
real estate versus banks. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Of course. And sometimes those worlds collide. How about this? So Trump, let's just say Trump knows there's money to be made. I got a guy who wants to make some money a different color. You know what I'm saying? Like bleach bit that money. So he goes to a bank to buy something, that he'll then sell and grab a profit off of reselling, whitewashing the money, pay back the loan.
You'd also notice that there's a lot of during this period of trying to keep Trump from getting elected, they tried to make him look like he was bankrupt. He's no good.
Yeah.
We need to see his taxes. We need to see his taxes.
That's one of the things that Cy Hirsch, who's a Peabody Award-winning journalist,
Pulitzer.
He said Pulitzer. I'm sorry. He said that Mueller saw Trump's tax returns in the very beginning right away. Nothing there, useless.
It could be.
Yeah, if Cy Hirsch says it, I believe it.
I believe it too, and I would say that, which is why Mueller hasn't, gone out of his way to make a point.
Make a point about the tax returns.
In fact, that whole meme has been shut down.
Yeah,
except for dummies, because it's probably
whoever says that, you can tell they're not part of the system. They haven't been read in, and they're not in the know.
And so it may be actually a trap. So Trump brings out the things. Look. It may be one of these things at the last minute. If he has to do it, he'll bring them out and there'll be nothing there because he's done such a good job. I mean, this is not a guy who is – you can tell that he's pretty guileless. I mean, he doesn't get shook easy. He gets mad at certain people. He doesn't like personal insults. He does have some, personality quirks.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I can tell, he's doing the job he was hired to do. I don't see a problem, but they're trying to get him, and this is one way of doing it.
This is really fantastic.
But I like the idea of banks versus real estate people because there's two different investment groups. They don't mix very well. Banks will loan money to create mortgages.
Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I know how that happened.
You get a piece of the action, but they don't. They're not.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So we have CIA, DIA, and then we have banks versus real estate companies. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Well, that is a very different. And stuff fits into here. All of a sudden, I'm just stringing the yarn again between the nails on the board with the photos of everybody. Magnitsky Act plays into this. A whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
And well, okay. I think the Cy I'm definitely gonna try and chop that up. I think that Cy Hirsch interview will be key. To now I need to look at pretty much everything with a whole different light. I like it. Give yourself a little pat on the shoulder.
I'm doing that now.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Comey is the guy. Dvorak. Comey.
Okay. Well, in the morning to you. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, all the days and nights out there.
In the morning to the troll room. Trolls. Also liking your theory and posting all kinds of links and research already. Fantastic. NoAgendaStream.com. That's where the trolls congregate Thursdays and Sundays in the morning. For the live stream, but there's always someone in there 24/7. We have the stream going as well. Once again, noagendastream.com. And in the morning to Darren O'Neill, one of our true artists who brought us the artwork for episode 1064. We titled that Post-Racial.
And the art is very interesting because there's a lot of good stuff there. But O'Neill seemed intent on he submitted like the one that came in first and the one that came in second and the one that came in third.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to win.
I'm going to win.
Mm-hmm. So. This was the Flub show, which was so good that I got some notes from people saying your artwork always changes. So I'm always looking for the No Agenda Show artwork when I look at my my podcast app, which podcast apps that actually adhere to the standard and show the new artwork. There are a few. And he's like, I couldn't find it. I saw the Flub show. I didn't know what podcast that was. I kept on looking because that's what it said. The Flub show. Apparently, it was confusing.
The Flub show.
It was confusing.
Yeah,
didn't even think about that. But we loved it, and we appreciate the work that all of our artists do. And Darren is no stranger to the album artwork and. The way this show is distributed so far and wide, your art actually gets more distribution than any Picasso or Rembrandt ever would.
Yes.
Think about it.
Yes.
Think about it. It's baked in. It's baked into the MP3.
Baked.
It's, people download this. They store it. They put it in places. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. Thank you again. We highly appreciate that.
So we have a very interesting anomalous situation today.
Yeah, short segment.
We have one guy who came in as an associate executive producer at $208.88. This is Sir Loudpipes from Charlotte, North Carolina. But he's the only one.
Yep.
We did get a lot of happy birthday Adam donations.
Yes, this is good.
Which is the second reading of our donors, and that's extremely long. So I mean, somebody could have done something. I mean, he got. In fact, Sir Loudpipes got in the birthday thing. He says he added $54 for Adam's birthday, $66 for John's birthday, and $88.88 for John's anniversary.
He called it the numerology mix pack.
Yeah. So
Nice.
he becomes executive producer with this $208 donation. So thank him for that. And that's it, by the way. But he does have some jingle requests.
Okay.
A dude named Ben clip, Obama, You Might Die, and Goat Scream. To top it off with some needed job karma, as my company has recently been acquired by a larger company. Never good.
No, that's...
He says, you guys put out a consistently outstanding product, so as a producer should, I'm doing my part to keep the Zephyr moving.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll add a little bit to his requests. Here we go.
Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben.
You might die.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
All right. Super duper.
And back to the show.
Yeah, well, you know what? He also becomes our executive producer.
Yes, I mentioned that.
I'm just reiterating. That is how we roll on the show. If we have only one associate exec, then...
It's the second time this has happened this year.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
No.
So Sir Loudpipes will be the sole executive producer for episode 1065, and he can just say, I exec produced that whole thing, bro. And you can put that on your LinkedIn. You can anywhere credits are understood, recognized, and accepted, which is one of those places. It's certainly worth giving a shot. So we thank him, and we will be thanking more people. Also, birthday donations. So look forward to that. And of course, we will have another show on Thursday, and you can always remember us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And just remember, one of our pieces of the formula right now is Comey money laundering.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up.
All right. Very short segment.
Well, let's take.
Before I was going to mention that it was actually Mark Hall who turned me on to this. I didn't realize, but we actually have in Austin a dockless mobility policy. And dockless mobility, in case you didn't know, is the bikes and the scooters.
Well, what about them?
Well, it turns out we have a policy. They had a temporary policy, which they closed the survey. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, that would be rather disappointing. They, when these companies just dumped all this stuff right in the middle of Austin, they came up with, we have an emergency administrative rule governing dockless mobility, and this went into effect on May 7th. And what's interesting is their policy, and I think there's some problems with it. And they had
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay. So all of a sudden, like many places around America, we've been talking about this for months. Yeah. Companies dropped scooters and bicycles in the city without just dropped them in. Didn't talk to the city, just dropped them in. And so city councils, instead of saying, hey, get the hell out, as everyone adopted this and they were asleep at the wheel, they created emergency administrative rules. And now those are now becoming the full-on rules, and they're deficient.
Well, you're telling me that they actually have a rule to approve throwing the bikes all over the place because there's dockless?
Yes. Well,
why?
Well, no. Why? Because they're idiots.
Oh, okay.
They're idiots, yes.
I knew there must have been a reason.
I mean, instead of saying, hey, what would be the major gripe I have? I don't even care if these things are just dumped everywhere. Get off the sidewalk. They're actually encouraging this on the sidewalk behavior.
Yeah, guys shooting around in a high-speed scooter on the sidewalk.
We have bicycle paths. We are famous for a bicycle path that no one used until...
Yeah, we have that too. Nobody uses them.
Yeah, now we have all these bikes and scooters, but they're saying people who plan to use dockless mobility services should do so in a safe and ethical manner. Please follow these guidelines to help keep Austin moving safely. Pedestrians first, yield to people walking on sidewalks. What the hell? You have a motorized vehicle on the sidewalk. I don't want to sound like an old fuddy-duddy.
You sound like one.
Well, screw that.
Hey, man, we got to get around somehow, and this is better than walking.
Write and report. If you see a unit toppled over or parked improperly, help out by writing the unit and reporting the issue.
I'm supposed to do the work for them?
Yeah, and then report the issue to Austin 311.
Hello, 311. I picked up a bicycle.
Yeah,
and
good work.
It up.
Good work, citizen. Pat yourself on the shoulder, citizen. Good work. Now, here is something that is definitely not being adhered to.
I want to stop you first and mention what San Francisco has done. San Francisco.
They poop on them and light them on fire.
San Francisco, besides you don't throw the things in the drink, which some people do, San Francisco collects them. The city collects them before the other guys, before the owners collect them, because there's trucks going around picking these things up.
Yeah.
But if San Francisco sees one and it's on somebody just laying around, they throw it in their truck and then they impound it, and it's $150 to get it back.
Right.
There's a profit center.
Yeah.
Make these bikes a profit center for your community.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that. But
why?
Because didn't we answer that already? They're idiots. They're idiots. John,
why don't you run for city council?
No.
Yeah,
I'm doing a podcast here. No, but I filled out their survey, and I was very clear that I find this entire movement to be discriminatory, since you need to have a smartphone in order to activate it.
I agree.
So I think that's discriminatory. But also, as part of the rules, this is, and I just don't think they're playing by these rules, users will have access to dockless mobility services without having to share personally identifiable information, and can opt into data sharing only after getting clear information about what data will be shared. Well, bull crap. You have to give me your driver's license just to be able to use the system. So that's not true. Yeah, I'm sure you have to opt in, but they say you should be able to use it without sharing your information. So they're not doing any of that. Anyway, Austin's crazy. Luckily, it's only downtown. Listen to the following.
Now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, now. I had lunch with Sir Gene the other day. And, we, from time to time, he doesn't live, so he came in downtown. And we're eating our salads, as two dudes do. And just one scooter after another. Gene says, I've never seen it like this. It's just one after another, on the sidewalk, scooting around. So listen to this. This is the companies and number of units they have. This is just downtown. Bird Scooters has 500 scooters, and they have 500 supplemental licenses. Then there's Jump. They have 250 bicycles. Lime has 500 scooters and an additional 500 supplemental licenses. Pace has 500 bicycles. VO Ride has 350 bicycles. But here's what's interesting. There is 20 scooters belong to the Goat company. So if anyone sees a Goat scooter, steal that from me. And then there's one outfit called Spin that has one scooter. That's really interesting. One scooter. So anyway, so they're going to make this all permanent, and there's not a single thing about where you're supposed to operate these. And I think, it just kind of makes sense. I'm all for it, by the way. I'm not against it. But let's put it into perspective. Yeah, you don't live downtown Austin. You should be able to use them without a smartphone. Anyway, okay. So you don't really care about these scooters being a menace to society. Yes, I do. I care about them.
You just care the fact that you can't get the use.
No, I knew you would say that. No.
Well, that's because what's what you just said.
I think that is the biggest problem. And if everybody would use it on the street or on the bike path where it belongs, then I would be okay with it. But that's not what it is. The situation is out of control. So until I'm just putting my foot in the sand here until they give me a smartphone free.
That's not going to happen.
I'm going to take a Sharpie, and every single one of these that I see, I'm going to scratch out with indelible Sharpie ink the QR code so it will render the whole device useless.
Oh, you've become a vandal.
Yes, I'm going to vandalize.
Okay.
Vandalizing.
I think a can of black paint, spray paint, would be easier.
Just a quick little blast. Yeah, but I'm afraid you can scratch that off. The Sharpie is much harder. But that truly is its Achilles heel.
Well, if you want to have some fun, just take a little sprayer of acetone.
I'll try that. See if we can get it off. Yes, good one.
No, it'll just curl up anything that's plastic.
Yeah.
Acetone's nasty for plastic.
So Sergine and I had lunch at Mad Greens, which it truly is a salad place. And there was a long line. This is a great format. There's a couple of places here. Flower Child has it, and it's basically a cafeteria with nice tables. And you wait in line, and you go by the lunch ladies, and they you can choose maybe some variation, but it's all right. They're like Chipotle. It's kind of that idea.
It gets you used to prison.
It gets you used to the prison system. So you learn, and they don't give you metal silverware that you can rattle. So they
tin cups.
They don't have that yet. But when they put those in, you'll know your training is almost complete. Would you like the tin cup, sir? Oh, I'm about to graduate. And it's taken quite a while, but we're chatting away, so it's not a problem. And we get up to the front, and she says, "I'm so sorry. We're really short-handed today." So what, everyone's sick? No, we can't get people to work. So what do you mean? They just don't show up? No, we can't hire people. We need people desperately. We cannot hire a single person. And there's like 15 guys, homeless guys, vagabonds walking out front. My head is exploding. We have jobs here, like real jobs, a real necessity.
They don't pay enough.
I guess. I thought she said
it's beneath me.
Yeah, that's probably it. But I think people should take advantage of this opportunity because then you can learn how to also work in the prison system.
Yeah, you can always get a job in a prison.
Handing out the prison food.
Glop.
Glop. I'm going to go in and ask.
It only comes in one flavor.
I think they probably are offering $15 an hour, which is good.
Yeah,
college. Bring anybody in. Do you know anyone who wants to work? I said,
so was there any repercussions in the city after your university there in Austin lost again to the mediocre Terrapins from Maryland in the football game?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't realize we had a game. Do we have a team?
Yeah, you have a team. You wouldn't know it by that game.
You got a team. Bebo. Isn't that our mascot?
I have no idea what the mascot is.
We have the Longhorn. Bino, Beepo.
Is that the name of the animal?
Yeah, that's his name. Well, we're on BMO number 8. I forget what is it. Bevo. There we go. I knew I'd get the letter right. Bevo. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so no one's talking about that. Also, I'm not walking outside. It's 100 degrees. I'm not talking to anybody. But we're still one of the great quirky places to retire. We're number 1. Everyone's coming to Austin.
Number 1 for retirement now?
Yeah, we're great quirky place to retire.
Oh, quirky.
Quirky. Yes, quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, let's go change a few topics here. I got one that's kind of off the wall. This is Farage. Apparently, he's thinking about running for London's mayor.
The truth is, a group of people have approached me. They say, look, there are more people in London that voted for Brexit than voted for Sadiq Khan when he became mayor. And actually, if you look at the numbers, that is true. But for those of you wildly speculating, quite frankly, I've been so busy the last few weeks, I've barely given it a moment's thought. I will give it a moment's thought over the course of the next week. I'm probably not going to do it, but I will certainly think about it. Hey, who knows?
That could be very interesting.
Well, it is a stepping stone to higher offices. I mean,
it's a stepping stone to like the real deal.
Yeah, I mean that's what Boris Johnson came from. That position, and he was almost a prime minister.
That would have been so cool.
It would have been funnier than what we've got.
Great for the show. Oh yeah, Theresa May is boring. Oh, and whenever she does something interesting, it's video, like her little jig she was dancing with the African kids.
Yeah, right. She's not good for the show at all.
No, she's not good for the show. She's very bad for the show. She makes
horrible faces and this all stuff. It's all visual.
Yeah,
all visual.
Yeah. It's not good. Not good for us.
Yeah. So she's out. So this could be good. That would be fun. He just kind of threw it out there, I think, as if that was his feeler.
Well,
here's another kind of back to the bank versus real estate. I do have this clip. This is the money funneling operation, which they're all at Twitter about, thinking that this is another way to get Trump.
Tell us about this case of this American lobbyist who pleaded guilty today to illegally funneling money from some sort of foreign source to the Trump inaugural campaign, and also not registering as a foreign agent.
Right. His name is Samuel Patton. He's a longtime Republican political operative here in Washington, and he pleaded guilty to failing to register as a foreign agent here in federal court here in Washington. One of the things that's interesting about this case, Wolf, is that it was referred by the special counsel Robert Mueller to the U.S. attorney here in Washington to investigate. And as part of his guilty plea today, he admitted not only to lying to Senate investigators when he appeared there in January, but he also said that he essentially helped a couple of oligarchs from Ukrainian and Russian oligarchs attend the inauguration of Donald Trump by essentially buying tickets for them to hide the fact that they were foreigners, which is illegal for them to be able to donate to the president's inaugural. So he had this scheme essentially where he had someone else buy the tickets in order for them to be able to attend. And keep in mind, Donald Trump's inaugural raised $107 million, which is twice as much as any of previous presidents have raised for their inauguration. So it is something we know that the special counsel has been investigating, in particular their connections with oligarchs who were asked about this.
These are pro-Russian oligarchs.
These are pro-Russian oligarchs.
Ukrainian. This is potentially consequential. First of all, pleading guilty to not registering as a foreign agent, that's a felony. Could go to jail for 5 years, $500,000 fine for that. But also illegally funneling money to the inauguration, that's pretty significant as well.
Huh.
Yawn. I think wheel spinning.
While that was going on, I was in my head. I was thinking about all the different ways that these payoffs take place, and the minor players need to be helped out. And how does that work? This GoFundMe. This has become the way to pay people off for doing something.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Oh, but we've discussed it. We've discussed this before.
Not McCabe, but yes, but
all of them.
Strzok, I think
all of them, John. All of them. Didn't Comey also have a GoFundMe?
I don't remember Comey, but I know Strzok did.
Strzok had one. McCabe had one,
and there are huge amounts of money they collected.
Anywhere from 150 to 150,000 to and up. But if you go in and you look at those GoFundMes,
that would be this is a money laundering deal.
Well. If it's just something to consider.
And a payoff, a methodology for paying off. Well, just because it's all blind.
John, it's just a thought. But, if we had like some really big Russian donors,
we don't.
To the show, You know, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we could put a GoFundMe up there and we'd get like $500-600 max.
It's like, yes, Boris, we'll pay these guys off. What are they worth? $500. Okay.
$500. I'd give him $450. That's good enough.
How much, Ivan? How much do I have to pay to call me? Call me. $500,000. No agenda show. $500. Yeah. You know, if I ever start up my own podcast, I'm going to do that model.
Yeah, you should.
Your donations are basically just money laundering. Yeah. My show is doing great.
Money laundering and bribes.
And I thank you. I thank my customers. Gracias, friends. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. I was thinking the same thing when Struck got all this. It was like a huge amount of money.
But if you look at the first
like
10
a buyout,
John, listen. You go to the first 20 donations. You can scroll back in history. Most of them are anonymous. Most of them are for $1,000, $2,000. That's where the big money comes in. Then word gets out. Oh, and you have to be on your way. That always works. It's kind of the network effect. And then smaller people, the dupes come in like, oh yeah, I'll help you out. And then if
dummies,
the dummies, and they get closer to the deadline, then it always kind of, oh, look, they made exactly the right amount. So they always kind of fill it up at the end. I'm telling you, this is what needs to be investigated. And I think the beauty is
I think everything needs to be investigated. Apparently, everything's a scam.
Yes,
it's a scam,
and that's going to be on your tombstone, my friend. His final request was this unveiling. Whoosh, it's a scam! ! I don't even know what I was going to say anymore. But yes, it's a scam.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, the GoFundMe. Well, you know what? Here's what I was going to try and say. All of these money laundering scams, it's very hard. I mean, you can look at it as a scam or not a scam. Some of them, the way the money flows is just kind of, it's like art. It's the same thing. Art is money laundering. It's all kind of legit, even though it's money laundering. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to prove that it was money laundering if you just bought something and sold something and...
Well, you can't, and that's the beauty of it.
Yes.
The problem is you have to find, you have to find someone who knows there's a bunch of illicit cash. It's just the illicit cash part that is the problem. They got to move it through a system so they can have it in their bank account without having to just walk into the bank and drop in $100,000 in ones.
Right. That's where Bitcoin comes in.
Yeah, I know you keep saying that.
No, sporadically.
Bitcoin is probably a conduit for money laundering.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Of course it is. Yes.
But there's a lot of these things. I mean, if we look at the world differently, we can see, people need to launder their money.
Yes.
The cash business, running a cash business. A lot of it is to avoid taxes. I mean, some of these you see, I go to the bank. And we do pretty much all our stuff on PayPal and checks.
Yeah.
And the amount of cash we get some. But, I just drop it in there. But I go to the bank and I see somebody coming in from usually a Chinese guy running some sort of an operation. And he comes in with a pot load of cash.
Really?
Yeah, just a big pile of cash and shoves it at the teller. And she adds it up and turns it in a machine.
And how much do you think it is? How much are they bringing in, the Chinese guys there?
I think $5,000-$10,000 at a pop.
Ah, okay.
And but it's it's all cash, and you have to assume that some of it has to be. I mean, if you're doing an all cash business, by the way, I've always suspected all cash restaurants are probably they probably keep an eye on them. And it's not that anyone's doing anything illegal in the business itself. It's not that they're taking drug money and
that's difficult because I know friends of mine have been busted in all cash restaurants, back in the 80s when really no one had credit cards. And the inspectors will sit in your restaurant or, they'll take turns and they'll just sit there and look and watch what people are ordering. And they'll know pretty much exactly how much you should be filing in income. They're pretty good at that. They have models.
I don't know how good they are.
Machine learning, man.
I went to a money laundering restaurant. Mimi used to work at one.
The restaurant should just be called the money laundering restaurant.
Mimi used to work at a money laundering restaurant. She says it's pretty hard to tell sometimes. In fact, she didn't even know for a while. But I went to a place I was sure is money laundering because I ordered a lot of stuff. Like the place was a tapas place. It was a jump and joint. It was packed. It would be very hard to figure out. A
jump and joint. Were you there in your zoot suit?
Yeah. And so it would be pretty hard to figure out how much money was going through there because you'd be buying all this. So you think you're buying all this stuff, and then when you get the check, it's comped.
Oh, yeah. That's another great way to do it.
And if you're sitting there trying to keep track, well, there's a sale of this, there's a sale of that. Yeah, well, half the stuff is comped in this restaurant.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I know him. Comp him. So you get a whole comped meal. I mean, there's some immediately to me that just is what? I have never been here before. One guy says he knows me. I've never seen him. And they're comping my whole thing. Money laundering.
Yeah.
But the idea behind a lot of money laundering, it seems to me, is not to like take drug money and push it through the system, but to avoid income taxes. So you have an all cash restaurant and you do, let's say $1 million a year, and you declare that you do $500,000 a year. It's a lot of money you save there if you don't declare the other $500,000 because it's all cash. You put that, you launder that.
Yeah.
So this is goes on.
Yeah. Maybe that's the big pushback against crypto, because once people figure out that you can do all this stuff and you can really avoid mainly taxes by pushing this money around.
Yeah.
No way does the system want that to happen. No way.
No, they don't like this.
No,
the government is not
like
interested in allowing this.
And just to kind of tie this into a conversation we were having, someone sent me a Bloomberg article, and this only came out on the 30th, that Google and MasterCard have had this deal where they are completely sharing all information together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And MasterCard has 2 billion customers.
Yeah.
And they really haven't told anyone that. I mean, you sign away everything when you sign up for your card. You can opt out. People have sent me some information. You can opt out, I guess. Or at least you can say, it's like pushing the button at the crosswalk. Hey, the button lit up. Didn't get to cross any earlier. So just empty wires. But yeah, the slaves, that's you and me. We're just caught in this constant loop of tracking by everything and everybody. And meanwhile, the elites, they're out there just passing money around.
There's probably elements of that.
Yeah.
There's another thing I got here, which is that I don't know how this fits into the big picture, but let's play this. This is Trump versus the Koch brothers, another operation that needs a looking at.
Trump is lashing out at the powerful conservative activists and donors Charles and David Koch. In a tweet this morning, the president called the brothers a, quote, total joke in real Republican circles. He said, I don't need their money or bad ideas. The president went on to call their network, quote, highly overrated. Over the weekend, about 500 Koch donors gathered for a seminar. Charles Koch, who leads their political organization, slammed Mr. Trump's trade policies and said they could trigger a recession. Koch reportedly also said he would back Democrats if they aligned with his values. Koch officials have said they plan to spend between $300 and $400 million on the upcoming midterm elections.
I'm a little confused. What exactly do they want? I mean, I know they hate Trump, but what exactly do they want? What is their agenda? What furthers their empire and what helps them?
Oil. They're oil based. So anything that helps the oil industry should help them.
Yeah.
I don't see why they have. I don't know what their grudge against Trump is.
No, it's very confusing to me.
I think it's great they have a grudge against Trump because it just kills the old left-wing argument. Oh, the Koch brothers, the Koch brothers, the Koch brothers. Always bitching and moaning about the Koch brothers.
Yeah.
That and Citizens United. Oh, Citizens United is ruining the country.
Those are old talking points. Those don't work anymore.
Points are done.
It's
Trump
done. Racist. You got to be racist. Racist. That's the talking point, bro. Racist. I've been tracking these. I'm just calling them social justice value networks because I think that's that's a descriptor really of what they are. And it's been very interesting to see the In-N-Out Burger boycott. Have you tracked this at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they say, hey, look, we donated the exact amount, same amount to
everybody,
to every party, or whatever, at least to the Republicans and the Democrats, and now you have the Social Justice Value Network that's still boycotting.
Makes the line shorter. In-N-Out Burgers is a pain in the ass to get into. I think it's a benefit. Most people around here feel the same way.
Right, but I'm talking more about the interest. To me, interesting is that the power that these networks have, and I'm always surprised. Like, why are you wasting your time in a burger joint? Go do. I mean, it works.
Really,
you have power. Stop pussyfooting around. Do something. I don't know. But we're gonna have one of these where it's going to be two networks against each other. It just seems like it's mainly left that are doing this, that know how to do it, that know how to organize, know how to get apps together and block lists and bans and all that stuff. And if the right ever figures it out, it'll be interesting when they really
not hard
get
to
on.
Figure out. We can do it.
Yeah, but the right doesn't do it. They don't have a mechanism. They don't have there's no Media Matters of the right. There's no sleeping giants of the right.
A Daily Caller.
Oh, please. Tucker Carlson to the rescue. I don't think so. Just a little entremont. This is a great little clip someone sent to me just to show you that when you really know something about a topic, it's always kind of interesting when you listen to the news. When they report on things and you've got to wonder, do they make this mistake in every other topic? This was about a skydiving plane crash. I don't think anyone was hurt. But the local reporter did, of course, show up on the scene to talk about the crash landing and the possible cause.
With the airport and with the manager, and again, as I've said, we've really never had any problems. The airport's run very well.
And Hazelden told us that he believes the issue was with a defective flux capacitor, though the NTSB wouldn't comment on any potential cause today.
You just see some guys on, hey, it's a flux capacitor, which she then pronounces capacitator, which was even better.
Yeah, she got it wrong. She even got that wrong.
The flux capacitor. Yeah, so you just...
Okay, I'll give you a clip of the day for discovering that one.
Well,
or send it to you.
I was going to say, I can't take credit for that, but...
Clip of the day.
I thought it was funny.
What an idiot.
Presentator. Oh, there was this is not a clip item, but NPR had a really interesting article. And, I'm not big on NPR these days, certainly not their podcasts or shows, whatever they call them. There's a lot of morons spewing moronic crap. But this was some good reporting. The school shootings that weren't. And what they did is something that, oh my God, they actually had a journalist. We had this huge number of school shootings and the whole every outlet, every journo, everyone was talking about. We've had 160, 190, 200, 300 shootings this year. School shootings. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
I wondered if we have a clip of it. Do we have a compendium of everybody who was all nuts about it?
No.
School shootings. I thought there was like some. We had.
No, we do have a recent clip of some guy debunking most of this nonsense, and which I don't have for today's show, but I'll have it for Thursday.
Yeah. So what I have here is the spring the U.S. Education Department reported 2015-2016 was nearly 240 schools with which reported at least one incident involving a school-related shooting. And NPR reached out to every one of the schools repeatedly over the course of 3 months and found that more than 2/3 of those reported incidents never happened.
Sounds right.
They were, of the 240 incidents reported and re-reported ad nauseum, they were only able to confirm 11. 11. In 161 cases, schools or districts attested that no incident took place or couldn't confirm one. In at least 4 cases, they found something did happen, but it didn't meet the government's parameters for a shooting, like a rubber band. Rubber
band gun.
So this should disturb everybody because the hysteria was pretty big on this, and every single news outlet just went along with it, and so NPR, in their wisdom, someone said, we should go check that out. And they did. And they're actually checking up on the U.S. Education Department. So this is a governmental check, which is isn't that what the press freedom is all about?
Yeah.
Checks and balances. You're the fourth leg of the table.
Checking it out. Checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have had that clip today, but
bravo NPR for doing that.
Well, good. I think the tide's turning on these school shootings. They're trying to find something else to talk about. I do have this longish clip, which I wanted to do because I was misled by being a Democrat for much of my life and by a lot of things. And every time I get very irked by some of these things. Yeah. But I had no real understanding, and this is a long clip.
That's okay.
But it's very good. My understanding of the fairness doctrine is not what I thought it was. And this is Rush Limbaugh going on and on about the fairness doctrine and how nobody understands what it is, even though they're talking about it constantly. And
now,
I will attest.
Do we want to do any background before the clip about the fairness doctrine?
That's what I'm doing now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I will attest the fairness doctrine was employed after the Roosevelt administration to try to get a little balance on the
radio at the time.
On the radio, almost exclusively on the radio, but on radio and television applied to both. And all it really did was say you can't. When you start looking into it, what it really had to do with was personal attacks that were unfair. That's what it was really about. People would go on a TV station or a radio station and say, Bill or Adam Curry, he's a crummy a-hole. I hate him.
They had Reddit back then?
And no, that's what they were doing. They were using the airways for Reddit.
Yeah, okay, got it.
And so that was, and there was this sort of thing created this and other moments during the Truman Roosevelt switchover created this fairness doctrine, which went into play in the 50s, I think 52, and it's not to be confused with which is what we always do. And the only mistake in this, when you listen to Rush talk here, he's got everything exactly right because I checked everything out except one thing. He made one error, which is the equal rights. Or equal time. There is a thing called the equal time rule.
Yes.
He calls it the equal time doctrine. That's the only mistake he makes. But the rest of it is all accurate. And
what brought this on that he was discussing this?
Apparently people are floating around, and I've heard this from him a lot. They have what brought it on were esteemed scholars giving talks around the Washington, D.C. area and elsewhere talking about how the fairness doctrine, once Reagan destroyed it, created the likes of Rush Limbaugh and the Fox News and all these things which wouldn't have existed before the fairness doctrine was repealed.
That's interesting. So they truly only see one side of the results of repealing this doctrine. They only see the Rush Limbaughs and the Fox News of the world. They don't see CNN and MSNBC.
Well, the point is what they're seeing is imaginary.
Yes.
Because Rush Limbaugh, as he attests to in this little spiel, had been doing the Rush Limbaugh show for 3 years during the Fairness Doctrine at a station in Sacramento. It was just a coincidence that he showed up right after the Fairness Doctrine was repealed.
Yeah, because he became the poster child of it, kind of.
Yeah, inadvertently. And the Fairness Doctrine has got nothing to do with anything going on with Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, or anything else.
It's about censorship.
Well, here, listen to Rush.
This was this morning in Washington. The White House Historical Association held a forum on the presidents and the press during a discussion of the evolution of opinion-driven media. Presidential historian John Meekum said,
1921, radio comes along, television in the late 40s, there's something called the Fairness Doctrine. We all own the public airwaves. So the idea was you could not express an opinion unless you gave equal time to both sides. So most people decided to stay out of that business altogether. And as part of a generalized deregulation move, President Reagan repealed that in the 80s. That's 86, 87. Rush Limbaugh goes national in 1988. By 1992, he's so important that his support of Pat Buchanan helps bring George H.W. Bush down in the 92 New Hampshire primary. 96, you have Fox, MSNBC. CNN was founded in 80, of course, but it began its move. And so you had this period where we did have more or less the kind of, and part of it also is that that's the media world in which most of us grew up. We're accustomed to this idea of Cronkite and the New York Times, and there was a conversation.
Right. We need desperately to get back to this. These people mischaracterize the Fairness Doctrine every time they talk about it. The Fairness Doctrine is not equal time. Equal time is a separate doctrine. It's a separate theory or a separate regulation. And it applies in campaigns. But the Fairness Doctrine, let me briefly tell you what it is. When it was in play, I worked in KFBK in Sacramento doing this show under the Fairness Doctrine. It didn't stop me. It didn't stop the management of KFBK. We had people that discussed carrot cake recipes at the holidays. We had people discussing local sewage problems. We covered debate. I happen to be the only one talking about politics, but there was no limit, and we lived under the Fairness Doctrine. The way it worked was, if I said something on the air that somebody in the community disagreed with, we invited them in and would put them on the program. They didn't get equal time. They got to appear. If I wanted to have them on for 10 minutes or 15, that's what we did. But even that was not a requirement. Fairness Doctrine was simply something that said there has to be an attempt at balance. But how you define balance is up to you. But Fairness Doctrine balance has never said that if you do 3 hours of conservatism, you got to follow it with 3 hours of liberalism. It's never been that. So if you, as a radio station, you do 3 hours of conservatism, maybe Sunday morning you do 3 hours of liberal, bam, you're balanced. If you do 10 hours a week of something, as long as you do an appreciable amount of time during the week doing something else, you're balanced. It's not equal time, and it doesn't grant opponents automatic access. These people don't even know what the Fairness Doctrine is. All they think they know, is that when it was repealed was when I finally had a chance to blossom. What they don't know is I worked in Sacramento doing this exact show, for all intents and purposes, for 3 years under the Fairness Doctrine. It was not a limitation in any way, shape, manner, or form.
Oh, okay. I can see where that mistake is commonly made. We've probably done it ourselves.
I believe so.
About the Fairness Doctrine versus was the equal time?
Equal time rule.
Yeah. Which is by itself bull crap.
It is. When you read it, it turns out to be bull crap.
Well, it's also it's kind of binary. It's like, oh, you said something, someone else gets to say something. But if a third person shows up and says, hey, you had an hour, you gave him half an hour, gave him half an hour, now I need half an hour.
Well, actually, let me tell you what their equal time rule actually says. It specifies that U.S. radio, by the way, this came into play in 1927 in the Radio Act. Mm-hmm. The U.S. radio and television broadcast stations must provide an equivalent opportunity to any opposing political candidate who requests it. For one thing, you have to request it. And it doesn't apply to editorial. Here, for example, since 1983, political debates are not hosted by the media stations or considered news events, and as a result are not subject to the rule. Consequently, the debates may include only major party candidates without having to offer airtime to minority parties or independent candidates. Talk shows and other regular news programming from syndicators such as Entertainment Tonight are also declared exempt from the rule.
Huh.
So the whole thing, that's even just a very weak. I mean, the equal time thing doesn't even really mean anything.
Right.
So we've been misled.
Yeah, well, that's interesting to know. I should have played The More You Know in the morning. It's just a great little fact. Just, yeah, kind of nice to know. Huh.
Yeah. So Limbaugh brings this up every so often because apparently he doesn't like being implicated that his success is due to the repeal of the act. It's all about him. It's always all about him. Of course. Yeah. That's what he does. That's why he gets the $400 million.
Yeah. Is that what he's making, $400 million?
No, he doesn't make that. He's a $400 million deal he made to do what make $10 million or something a year. He's just loaded, this guy.
Yeah. Because, often we'll have something on Sunday right down to the clip, and he'll play it on Monday.
We have people that listen to our show.
Sure they do.
We have people that from RT that listen to our show. We have people from InfoWars that listen to our show.
Yeah. Throw us a bone, set up a GoFundMe. Let's listen
They're not going to pay us anything. They're just going to take our stuff. Just kick sand in their eyes and take their stuff.
Those skinny wimps. Old white guys will take their stuff. Yeah. This is, I realized as I was listening to some NPR stuff, because NPR News and their whole news division is, they're bordering a little bit on MSNBC at this point.
Who?
But NPR News.
Oh no, NPR has gone downhill.
Their whole division is just I think, and we've discussed this. I think that they now, even when they're doing regular shows, they've forgotten that it's not a podcast, or maybe it is. They're all in podcast mode basically, which is a lot looser, which I do like. But that, there's a little more banter. I think podcasting has changed mainstream delivery, certainly of certain types of radio within NPR. And I also realized, I'm listening to this, there was a saying in the Netherlands when Pim Fortuyn, who won the election posthumously in 2000, was assassinated a week before the election. And this was this phenomenon, this tall, bald, very flamboyant gay guy who said, "Enough with Islam. We got to stop it coming into our country." And so he's very controversial, but one of the first ones to say that the multicultural society was not going to work out. And later on, of course, he was right about that. He was always talking, and the conversation in the Netherlands at the time, and I was living there, was normen en waarden, norms and values. And I realized that every election, that eventually, it comes down to that, norms and values. And I don't think I've really heard it in the U.S. election that much, except with Donald Trump. It's just, he's not presidential, whatever. But have you heard this term, norms and values?
No.
Well, it's now in play, and they actually have two different norms. Norm Eisen of Crew, which is, what is that, the Keep Politicians Honest group. And then another Norm Ornstein, and they're talking about Trump and his norms. So they had a cute little thing. Oh, it's the norms on norm. But just listen to how they feel and what they report. The first one is Eisen of Crew.
What's the deal with norms? Why should we care, Norm Eisen, about the fact that this was a president who promised to drain the swamp, change the way business is done in Washington, and certainly, at least tonally, in terms of behavior, demeanor, and speech, seems to be doing just that?
Well, David, thanks for having me. The reason that we should care about Trump's transgression, his brutal violation of norms, is because they're in a bucket of things.
I just have to stop. His brutal violation of, we don't even know what norms are yet. We're still trying to figure that out. He's already in brutal violation of them.
Trump's transgression, his brutal violation of norms, is because they're in a bucket of things that matter to us as humans, whether you call them norms, ethics, values, or laws, because these are the underlying concerns that drive our Constitution, our law, our regulation. Really? We want people to do the right thing, and that's where Drain the Swamp comes from. It's a desire, one that Norm Ornstein and I share and have devoted our careers to make Washington function better so it serves the people. Instead, Trump has broken it. He's turned it into unconstitutional crony capitalism benefiting himself and those around him. He's abused the First Amendment and other...
He's abused. I like that was my favorite. I would have.
How did he do that?
I would stop the interview. How did he abuse the First Amendment? That perfect.
Benefiting himself and those around him. He's abused the First Amendment and other normative values that we hold as Americans by his attacks on the press, assaults on the individual people of color, minorities, and others who he marginalizes, and on. Everything we care about has been transgressed by him, and he hasn't drained the swamp. He's filled it with the toxic sludge of corruption and alligators.
NPR, ladies and gentlemen. Just as I was listening to that, I'm reminded of a bill that is going through the House right now. It's H.R. 6691, introduced by who was Mr. Handel, whatever this is. And it will amend Title 18 of the United States Code, and it will clarify the definition of crime of violence. And, what do you consider? And I think it plays into this because the guy's talking about assaults and, all these, his didn't he even say violent attack or whatever, his bashing, all these words. And, when all of a sudden something comes across my feed that is about the definition of the crime of violence, I'm interested in that. What to you is violence?
To me?
Yes.
I think harming someone else.
Okay,
or blowing something up, that's violent.
So arson?
I think harming someone else or property.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if you're interested, I can read some of the definitions. But arson,
property harm,
assault, carjacking, child abuse. Let's see, coercion will also fall under a crime of violence. Extortion, fleeing. The term fleeing.
How's fleeing?
Means knowingly operating a motor vehicle and not following a law enforcement officer's signal to bring the motor vehicle to a stop, failing or refusing to comply, or fleeing or attempting to elude a law enforcement officer will be a crime of violence.
This is where they blow it.
Yeah. The term interference with flight crew members in attendance. This is specific. Basically, you look at a flight attendant wrong. If this thing passes, you're violent.
Yeah, sounds bad.
Yeah. So anyway, let's listen to the other Norm on the norms of the president.
Norm Ornstein, talk to me a little bit. We can get into how this affects policy as the hour goes along, but briefly talk to me a little bit about the decorum that he's broken, the folkways that he's violated. Why do these things matter? And we can, pick maybe one to illustrate what you mean.
One of the norms that we've had is that while we have three branches of government, and this is a norm that's changed especially since the Cold War, the president has a particular place in American society. What the president does, how the president behaves, sets standards for others. One of our norms is that once you get elected president, things are different. You represent all the people. Donald Trump hasn't represented all the people. He's represented his base. The first thing he did after getting elected was to hold a political rally leading cries of "lock her up." There's another norm.
Was he leading the cries? I don't know if he was leading them. Was he? Yeah, I guess he was.
Never.
The first thing he did after getting...
I don't even think he ever said it.
No, he isn't. I don't think he's ever said the words, but I do recall, at least on one occasion, when they were chanting, "Lock him up," the crowd is chanting, lock her up. He was moving his arms up to kind of, get him going.
I guess you could say leading them.
I think he was
like a conductor.
Conductor, yes.
All he misses is the baton. Pull that out.
The conductor of his base.
elected was to hold a political rally leading cries of "lock her up." There's another norm. In a democratic society, small d, you don't try to lock up your political opponents. When you use the kind of rhetoric...
Trump.
Yeah, really? Really?
Just mention that?
No. That would make too much sense if you actually said, hey, that's what they're trying to do.
Divides people rather than unites them, including racist and nativist rhetoric. That basically unleashes people to do things that otherwise would be viewed as absolutely improper.
Like Antifa, maybe?
When we have, as we just saw, an individual call up the Boston Globe and threaten to kill everybody there because you're the enemy of the people. Maybe a deranged individual, but using rhetoric that the president used that we would have seen as beyond the pale, as violating fundamental norms. And it's important to remember here, too, that these aren't just American norms. Joseph Stalin originated the term enemy of the people and used it to kill millions of people. When Khrushchev became the head of the Soviet Union, he banned its use because he said it was too dangerous.
That's NPR. So, anything else going on in the world? Oh, yes. Yes, the European Union is in heavy debate. The junker, the drunker is all for it, but looks like they're going to ban daylight saving time. It will always be summer in the EU, he said.
So they're going to keep daylight savings time, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
so
you're right. Yes,
it
will always be daylight saving time. Yes. Yeah. In fact, I should have said they back the ending of it. Well, the BBC's here. The BBC's...
No, the ending means that they switch back and forth, I think. But if he says it's going to be summer all the time, summer is the daylight savings time.
Well, the BBC headline reads, "Clock changes. EU backs ending daylight saving time."
Then how's it going to be summer all the time?
And Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker said millions, quote, believe that in future summertime should be year-round, and that's what will happen.
That means that you keep the daylight savings time, but you keep it year-round.
Once again.
So the BBC doesn't know what they're doing.
They don't know. The interns
That's
writing
what
this.
he said.
Yeah, the interns are writing it over there. This is your BBC.
Yeah, top drawer.
Top notch. I do encourage that, though. Thanks for throwing us slaves a bone.
Yeah.
It's like, we're still going to suppress you. We're going to give you austerity, but it'll be summer all the time in lovely Euroland. Is it just me? I kind of see the sickness of that.
I got a note from a guy I want to read. Andrew B. The certain death of the sun-bleached night. This is for the dating karma I received for my last donation. As an adult under 40, I'd like to report on the state of fur baby parenthood.
Oh, wait, don't we need the jingle?
Yeah, play the jingle.
Okay, hold on. Jingle?
Dogs are people, too.
I've been on the dating apps for a few months now, and there are an inordinate number of people, women my age, that are self-described dog moms.
Oh, boy.
Usually their bios will also have lines such as, quote, "I probably won't like you if my dog doesn't like you." Or, quote, "Looking for a stepfather for my dog." I've recently been chatting with a girl that mentioned that she's looking to get an emotional support dog. I may have reached the end of the road with her. Thanks for your work, Andrew B. Wang.
Well, that fits perfectly with this clip.
And we started to see this demand about 5 years ago in all those new urban rental buildings, the rooftop dog parks, the pet salons, all catering to millennials and their pets. Well, now millennials are buying homes, and a striking number of them are making decisions based on their pets. Jessica Evans sold her condo and bought a house for her dog, Lucy.
I loved living in a downtown area in a condo. It was great. It was very convenient. I didn't have housework. But the one thing that was really missing was my dog's happiness.
And she is far from alone. 73% of millennials currently own a pet, according to the American Pet Products Association. That's more than any other demographic. And a whopping 89% of millennials who've bought homes so far this year own a pet, according to Realtor.com. That has millennials putting their pets' needs front and center in real estate decisions. 79% of pet-owning home buyers who closed this year said they would pass up an otherwise perfect home if it didn't meet the needs of their pet, according to Realtor.com's survey. And Jessica sunk $12,000 into her new home for her dog and her cat. A new fence, a pet door. She even renovated the basement bathroom for the dog. Millennials want outdoor space or to be very close to a dog park. They also want to be near pet-friendly restaurants and pet product stores.
I do want to say that your No Agenda show has been tracking this disturbing trend for a couple of years. A couple of years. And I have to tell you, this is a spoiler. Now you know, if you've watched The Handmaid's Tale, now you know what happened, that they had to have women in captivity to bear children. Is because all of the young people in this imaginary time is coming true. How is Afjan doing? Is she okay?
Who?
Dogs are people too.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, oh No Agenda in the morning.
And yes, we do have a few people to thank for show 10. I don't know what it is.
1065.
1065. Time flies.
Mm-hmm.
Start with Sir Cal, $154.51.
Yes,
and he throws a birthday in there. He's got the 54 in there for your birthday.
Yeah, and I owe him an email, Cal. Thank you. Yeah. Got some stuff to share with him. He's a good guy. And he has lavenderblossoms.org. Remember, that's where you get all your CBD products.
Baron Latican in Houston, Texas, 154.
Nice.
Another 54 in there.
Thank you.
Luca Asberto in Canton Ticino in Italy. This is another birthday thing, $54 times 2.
Oh.
Well, somehow comes to, in Swiss francs.
The Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, yes.
Yes.
Grazie. Mille grazie. Auguri.
Jamie Scott in Plano, Texas, $111.11. Rebecca Waters, $108. Another happy birthday. That's 54 times 2. Miranda Wonder, $100. Gives a birthday.
Happiest of birthdays to you? Oh, yes. I rallied the Face Bag group to donate for your birthday / Labor Day weekend. I'm hoping that together we'll have a nice contribution. Someone suggested a group knighthood for the Face Bag if we reach $1,000. Not sure how that would work. Anyway, please de-douche me and... de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
And send me and my boyfriend some shacking up karma as we're moving in together this weekend. Put that at the end. He hit me in the mouth about a year ago. Yes, so what she had done apparently was this was another off-network, because, we have the Value Network, but when you can't access a part of it, which what the Face Bag group is, it's off-network. And they were going to all tag their donations with a Face Bag. So we knew it would be from them. And then apparently they wanted to raise at least $1,000 and then give a knighthood to the group.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
We'll see if they even did that.
Okay.
Let alone made the cut. Dame Kit in Tehachapi, California, $99.99.
And she becomes a dame? Yes.
Now Baroness.
Yeah, Dame Kit, now Baroness. Got it. And
she's also pitching in with the Face Bag group donation.
Maybe I should try.
She's an F cancer at the end, if you can remember that.
Of course.
She says, if the Zephyr ever loses your interest, come down and see the Tehachapi Loop. Is that the Hyperloop?
I don't know.
John Cox, 8888 in Waterford, Pennsylvania. Sir D.H. Slammered, 8778. We actually gave him credit for that on the last show.
Yes, we did.
Mary Bruff in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, 8008.
She needs moving in karma. We're moving in with her smoking hot boyfriend.
We got a lot of that this week.
Yeah, interesting.
Get that at the end. John Clean, I think it's clean. I don't know. Cincinnati 8008 and Andrew Wang, Sir Tin Death, the Sun Bleached Knight, who we mentioned earlier. I read his note already. Yes. 8008. Susan Claycamp in Dacula, Georgia. And she did actually send a note in, and I put it somewhere. I think this is it. It's interesting because we got a couple of items in here. As you see, it's in red.
Yes.
So we'll start with that. She's actually sent two notes. Now, she's got this very interesting feminine handwriting. I don't know how to describe it, but you've seen it before. It's not the precise little. It's the big, giant handwriting.
But it's cursive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Please call out John Meyer. It looks like M. Myers or Myers as a douchebag. Okay. Douchebag. In the morning, gentlemen. This is enclosed donation for show 1065. It's my honor to transition to my first year. Thoroughly enjoy she got her first year in every show and has been listening since 2015, which, well, I guess not her first year, which I could afford more, but I wish I could afford more, but a wider. She's a widow on a pension. Maybe that's what the handwriting
was. Oh, my goodness.
Has to make ends meet. Thank you for all you both and you do, and thank all the other producers for supporting the show.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that.
And she says, Dame for and lady before. Okay, so she must be a dame already.
Okay.
So it's Dame for and lady before. Okay, all right. Just get that out of the way. Sir Got Nate in Sebastopol, California, 6969. Baron Mark Tanner, 66.66. He does have some. I'll talk about him on the next show. He's got an idea for a new kind of donation.
Oh.
Giovanni Venenzia in Springfield, Massachusetts, 606. What?
Yeah, he needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
And he's got a birthday shout out. We got that listed.
We got that on the list. Robert Gould in Springfield. Wait a minute. This is weird.
Two Springfields at the same time?
First time donor for my birthday, August 31st, need a de-douching.
Yeah.
Please de-douche. We have Robert Gould and Giovanni Venenzia and Robert Gould have almost the same notes, and they're both from Springfield, and it's the same amount.
It's very, very suspicious.
It's very strange.
Well, I'm going to do a de-douching just in case.
You've been de-douched.
I smell a rat.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the first one sounds the same at the beginning, and then the note changes. My friend John got me into this show in March. I've been listening. I was, okay, well, that's just could be the classic random number.
Very random. Very random.
It can happen.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Webb, Summerfield. That's how you get that's why you play craps. Just hoping for that one day. Some guy just throws, 11 in a row. Jeremy Webb, Summerfield, Florida. Hoping to get some business venture karma that comes at the end. I'd like to call out Ballard from the Face Bag Group as a douchebag. Douchebag. All right. He says he hasn't donated. I guess he's one of the organizers of this Facebook thing. Christopher Walker, De Pere, Wisconsin, 5455. Yes, in the newsletter, I bitched and moaned about Adam not being verified.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah.
So he says, while not verified on the tweeters, Mr. Curry is undoubtedly verified as a good man in the hearts of many, myself included. Happy birthday, Adam. Yes, thank you.
Cody McLaughlin in Mercer, Pennsylvania, 5455. Eric Grunewald. In Melkbosstrand. Bostrand.
Which means milk forest beach. Milk forest beach.
Yeah, there you go.
That was Dutch. Thank you all.
He's Afrikaner, I'm guessing.
No, South Africa. Yeah. Yeah.
5454. Sir James Barron of Class G Airspace.
Yeah.
54. And these are all the guys who decided, 54 is not good enough. 54.
Let me just read this. Happy birthday, Adam. I've been listening to episodes at 1.5 times speed for the past couple of months. You know I'm against that. Then accidentally played one at normal speed and thought, oh my God, John must be having a stroke.
I'm already a fast talker.
I'm so against that. But anyway.
I got a note from somebody going on and on about they don't play half speed. They play some. There's some technology where it just takes out.
It takes out the pauses. Yeah, which we put in for dramatic effect.
Sometimes.
Oh no! Sometimes it's just let everything breathe.
I'm trying to get the spreadsheet open.
Well, there's that. But just let everything breathe. You know, anyway, life doesn't have to be so fast. 54
from Wiley, Texas. Greg Dial 54. 154 wasn't enough, he says. Don, I could have made the donation that much. Don Wentling and Nate 5440 from Canton, Ohio. Another happy birthday. Sir Greg Worley 5433. It is another variation of the 54. Also William Wellborn in Kennesaw, Georgia. 5433. Casper the Friendly Spook, who's in Madison, Alabama. Which I guess is Huntsville. He probably works out of there if he's a spook. Yes. 5418. Casper the Friendly Spook. I did mention something. I said there's no spooks in Nebraska or some place. And some guy sent me a note saying, "Oh yes, there is."
Yeah, hello, waving my hand, reclaiming my time.
And now the following people, and just name and location, they're all $54. There's a ton of them.
Wow.
And makes up for the lack of executive producerships. But I think you may have set the record here for someone.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm guessing you did.
I might have to sit down for all the love.
David Martin in Portland, Oregon. Sir Rob in Leiden, Holland, Netherlands. John Hawley, parts unknown. Sir Vince, Knight of the Southern Silicon Valley in Milpitas. Daniel Rigzecker in Archbold, Ohio. Eric Hoff in Edmonton, Alberta. It's Robert Smiley, 54, parts unknown. Stephen King in Charlotte, North Carolina. Sandy Block, Tom Schuring, Bruce Begnoch, Sir Arthur Gobbets, Sir Brad Viscount of the Jersey Shore in Delaware Valley in Yardley, Pennsylvania. Marion York in Den Haag, Netherlands. Marcus Mueller.
Jawohl.
I'm guessing. I can't tell because it's a mess.
It's Marcus from Deutschland.
Uber Deutsch or Uber no agenda. Connor McGlynn, Steeler Gromol in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. Robert Bruckner, Server Robert, I think. Scott Floyd in Clayton. Oh, in Clayton, California. How about that? I don't remember a Claytoner being on here. Dan Pinkerton in Chula Vista, California. Michael Roberts in Milwaukee, Oregon. Michael Berg. Jonathan Reisman in Maplewood, Missouri. Mark Hansens. Sir Chris Whidden in Millbrook, Virginia.
Excuse me. The love
Sir
got
Zachary.
to me.
Sir Zachary. Matthias Carlson in Sweden. Sir Morton Kiernan in Denmark. Yeah. Bill Johnson. Happy birthday, Adam. Oh, God, I'm older than Adam. That's what he says. Michael Barco in Salem, Oregon. Richard Bowersox in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Heiko Santema. Santema in Houghton. Third time's a charm. Milan Jovanovic in Belgrade. Where's this? Where's Belgrade? Belgrade what? What's RS? That's not Russia, is it?
No, Belgrade is. Isn't that Bulgaria?
No. Well, yeah, but what RS is that? Well, we don't know. He just likes the show. He thinks his amygdala is smaller because of it. Jennifer Vida in Lawton, Oklahoma. Sir Isaac, the Night of the Shocking Truth. Tyson Blondal in Slocan, BC. That's by Spuzum?
Yeah, left at Spuzum.
California. Nobody's from Spuzum ever gives us any money. Alan Vivash, Shannon Atkins, Sir Eric VM, Baronet of the Valley.
Serbia. RS is Serbia, of course.
Serbia.
How stupid are we, Bill? What am I talking? Bulgaria.
Yeah, they get busted up that whole area so many times. Yugoslavia is a mess.
I sound like an American. Damn it. Oh, isn't that the Bulgaria?
Sir Eric VM, Baronet of the Valley. Rhett Gardner in San Diego. Sir Ronald Gardner in San Diego. There we go again. They must be related. Anonymous in Boulevard, Texas. Boulevard. Boulevardy. What is it pronounced?
Boulevardy.
Boulevardy. Boulevardy, Texas.
Boulevardy, Texas.
They talk to their teeth in Boulevardy.
Hell yeah.
Prescott Johnson. Alan Sibley in Muskegon, Michigan. Sir Jin, 54. Courtney Vandenberg in Brombachtel,
Deutschland. Danke, Courtney.
Nathan Miller Foster, Scott in Madison, Wisconsin. Matt Cheminsky in Hoboken, New Jersey. Ron Wolfgang, 73s. KB7 MLK, 73s.
73s. Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie Charlie. You never give your call sign anymore. Have you forgotten it?
I know what it is. Sir John, a.k.a. Red. Eric F. Hallbritter in South Ogden, Utah. Nicola Page in Wellington, New Zealand. Oystenberg.
Oystenberg.
Yes, exactly. Allah Hamade, I'm guessing. AE, Arab Emirates?
Yes.
Allah Hamade.
And he was driving and his odometer read 5454 on the Ferrari.
Yeah, or the Lambo.
The Lambo read 5454. I thought, I've got to donate and get me a new Lambo.
Yes, it's time to sell. Eric Elan in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or Elaine. Donald Walter in North Ridgeville, Ohio. Philip Worth in Myerstown, Pennsylvania. Mark Malin in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Viscount of Luna, Kevin McLaughlin, Locust, North Carolina. John Catalano, Stephen Straczynski, Matt King in Cherry Hill Township, New Jersey. Jonathan Evans in New Orleans, another New Orleans or another Louisiana inn. Sir Craig Porter, David Raymer in Stamford, Connecticut. Stamford. Mm-hmm. Sir Midnight of the Rivers in Crestview, Florida. Anthony Fields, West Roxbury, Massachusetts. John Fitzpatrick in Heber Springs, Arkansas. Clark Pruden, Nick Barnes, Sir Chris James in Sturgis, Michigan. Survive of the Virtual Reality. Joshua Pettigrew, Gordon Gibson in Dallas. Robert Dimoff. He wants to shape-shifting his Jew jingle sometime soon. Sir Benjamin Ritgers in Boone, Iowa. Gary Burton in Brackley, UK. Mark Gasper in Spring Hill, Queensland. Cameron.
No, that was it. That's all the 54s.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you. That's so nice. I'm very touched. I'm very touched by this. Yes, that was quite a lot. And of course, lots of people put in nice little notes, and I read them all. We don't have time to read every single one, but thank you. That's very, very nice. Appreciate that.
And onward with Cameron Beltrachitis. I'm guessing, and Paul Tuckett.
Well, what was it? Happy early birthday to Alan from Rhode Island. My mom is from Pawtucket. That's why I want to read this. Here's your gift. Your Colonel Sanders looking mofo. Love, Ronnie Rooney. Only since mom. Goat scream. What the heck? Okay. Anyway. Pawtucket.
It's a birthday call out from Pawtucket.
Got it.
Jeremy Cartwright, 50. These following people, I'm just going to read name and location, are $50 donors as we wrap this up. Jeremy Cartwright in Rockford, Illinois. Walter Len in something. Deutschland.
Hippingen. Can't read it.
Gut something. I don't know. We can't. It's just a mess on the screen because of the nature of the. Sorry,
PayPal.
Walter.
Yeah.
PayPal does this to us, especially the Deutschlanders. Bradley Ledden, parts unknown. Tyler Schimpf in Bothell. Jennifer Wall in Money, Illinois. And that's the Facebook group donation right there.
Yeah, there were a couple more. There were a couple more.
Thanks, Jennifer.
There were a few more.
I don't think we got to 1,000.
No, we didn't get to 1,000, but there were a couple.
Okay, so we got probably to about. Well, we had $100 one, and probably
we probably got about $450.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Paul. So this, we appreciate your trying, whoever you are at the Facebook group, but. It's like everything else online, a lot of talk, no action.
You got to be part of the network.
Paul Contreras, the network works better in Westwood, Massachusetts. Your show's becoming the one I look the most forward to. And finally, last but not least, Sir Brett Farrell there in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Sir Brian Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina. I want to thank all these folks for helping us out in show 1065, wishing Adam a happy birthday. And also, somewhat of a celebration of Labor Day tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Labor Day tomorrow. My birthday's on Labor Day. How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Commie birthday.
There you go.
Yes.
To me.
Well, again, thank you. Thank you all very much. A couple other things that came in. I got, I'm not quite sure who sent this to me, but it was a packet filled with Boeing. I mean, it's from, I don't want to mention the person's name, but from Keller, Texas. And it has the Boeing company, the P-8A Poseidon, which is a very specific kind of aircraft. It's you look that one up, it's kind of interesting what that does. All like Boeing keychain, and then a challenge coin that has the spy versus spy guys on it. The white spy and the black spy.
Yeah, really?
Yes, and it says per secretum nos vivere, furtum nos vincere. I don't know. It's like, is this
Latin?
Yes.
Somebody out there can translate it on the spot. I can't.
Well, I think it's like we operate in secret. I looked that one up, Fortum something or other. We operate in secret. But this is like, it says NDM on the coin, National something. This must be from some outfit that we're unaware of.
Some private spooks.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to know what that is. And also a MoneyGram. It's another great way to launder money for $70. Thank you. We should put that in. And here's another one. And I got a nice card. And the card says, wishing you an OTG and face bag free birthday. See you soon. Yours. Now, I think it's from Mark Hall, but I'm not sure. Also from Texas, I think. So the older you get, the more excited you are about 2 pieces of mail, John.
Yep, I got some mail.
I went to the mailbox, and that's what I found out. It was really good. Now, next Thursday, we have a regular show here. At least I'm going to be in the Cludio. Then Friday, the Keeper and I, we take off to go to Italy. My sister's 25th wedding anniversary, so we actually fly through the night. We arrive Saturday, and the party's on Saturday. And so we're taking the show off on Sunday, and we have do we have a confirmation on what we're doing for the best of?
Well, it's going to be a couple of interviews, and we'll announce them on Thursday.
Okay, we can't talk about the name that you mentioned to me? Not yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know until these things are in the can.
Oh, I didn't know how far you were.
Yeah.
Okay. So there'll be a special interview show. So not a best of, but a special interview show. John has some interviews lined up. I'm very excited. It's always fun and different. And then, although we will remain in the EU, the show will continue as scheduled. And so we were going to take a little trip up to Lake Como to check in on George and Amal. And then...
that guy that lives there.
Yes. And then Tina, for my birthday, is taking me to see the Large Hadron Collider in Lucerne.
How did you get tickets to that?
I don't ask questions, man.
I think they're going to throw you in it.
I'm going to the Large Hadron Collider. Give me some Higgs boson. You know that. I'll be like, what time does the black hole start on the tour?
Can I go in it?
Hey, is this an A-ticket
black
ride?
Tour holes here.
Can I leap to another dimension from here? Is that possible? There's a woman who knows what I need, huh?
It's possible that that device is only for going from one dimension to the other. That's what it's really built for.
The question is it reversible? That is what we need to know. But there's a woman who loves me.
Yeah, she wants you to get thrown in. Okay, boys, you know what to do.
Just back up a little. Yeah, I want to take this picture. Back up a little more. All right. Well, who knows what will happen then? But again, thank you all very much for my birthday celebrations. It's highly appreciated. Great to keep the show going as well, which is all we really live for. We will do another show on Thursday. Remember us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
A couple requests here for some karmas.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Fucking cancer.
You've got karma.
Here are the birthdays. First, a couple of belated ones. Steeler Gromoil says happy belated birthday to his dad, Chris, who celebrated on the 14th. Robert Gould celebrated his birthday on the 31st. Giovanni Venezia says happy birthday to his friend Rob G, also on August 31st. Then we have Scott in Madison, Wisconsin, celebrating his birthday today, September 2nd. Steve King says happy birthday to Parkett Lawson. It'll be his or her birthday on September 4th. Cameron Balrukitis says happy birthday to Alan from Rhode Island, celebrating on September 8th. And Nathan Lee Miller says happy birthday to Foster, a.k.a. a cult fan, celebrating his 34th birthday on September 22nd. And we say happy birthday to everybody here from the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah. Title changes, turn and face the slaves. Title changes. Don't want to be a douchebag.
Yes, we have an upgrade for Dane Kitt, as we heard earlier in our donation segment. She now becomes Baronetess Kitt of Tehachapi. Tehachapi. A handy little spelling pronunciation guide for me there. Baroness Kitt of Tehachapi. And thank you for supporting the best podcast in the universe. And everyone, thank you again. Also, everyone who came in under $50 for our layaway programs, our subscriptions, or just for reasons of anonymity. NoAgendaShow.com, Dvorak.org/NA. And I did want to remind everybody, since you did this whole Adam's not verified thing, which of course I don't want to be verified ever in my life. This is a double whammy for you. If somehow they also verify me, you know it would piss me off. So I know what
I don't think it would.
Oh, yes. I've said if they verify me, I have to leave Twitter. But we do have verifiedvictim.com pointing to the No Agenda player. It's kind of cool. Verified victim. Who gave that to us? BB. Okay, BB, thank you. Very cool. Let's see. Let's go to Scandinavia for a moment. Scandinavia.
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, let's go there.
Oh, boy. So they got the holy herb is now legal, I think, in most of Scandinavia. Is it all provinces? Is it good to go there?
Yeah, it's a national thing.
Yeah, but they don't have, edibles aren't legal yet, I don't think. Anyway,
that's weird.
Well, it's in this report, I think, our good Scandinavian brothers and sisters, they have these are signs of things to come here for us. I mean, they're ODing. If you can, I guess. They're having all kinds of troubles. People who used to remember the holy herb and they've come back to it now that it's legal. Yeah, they're overindulging a tad.
New numbers provided to CBC News by the Canadian Institute for Health Information show Canadians are increasingly ending up in emergency rooms because of cannabis-related poisoning or overdoses. Over 3 years, the number of visits has nearly tripled in Ontario and nearly doubled in Alberta.
I wonder if there is a technical term for marijuana overdose. I mean, how do you overdose? What exactly happens?
Well, apparently you just smoke too much of this super powerful stuff and you get so dizzy and nauseous you feel you have to go to the hospital. You know, they're very sensitive up there in Canada. Ooh, I'm not feeling good.
It shows
Wait. Do they give numbers? They say tripled from what, 1 to 3 or from 300 to 900? Do they say?
I can't remember.
It has nearly tripled in Ontario and nearly doubled in Alberta.
It shows the increase in ER visits.
Dr. Zambo knew the numbers were high, but not this high.
So your first thought when you saw that?
I'm pretty shocked that it's that. Yeah, it's gone up that much. And then I definitely think that those numbers will go up even more.
So how much of a burden on resources is that?
Well, it's a huge burden. They're occupying beds. They're occupying nursing time.
From what he's seen, cannabis edibles are a big part of the problem. They're widely available, but Health Canada confirms they won't be legalized until sometime in the next year, which means they won't be regulated.
I would have liked to have seen public health messaging starting as soon as the bill passed, if not sooner than that.
The Canadian Public Health Association says a quarter of 15 to 24-year-olds are already using cannabis products, but people of all ages would benefit from strong provincial public health campaigns.
For people who perhaps consumed cannabis in their teens, 20 or 30 years ago, they're going to find that cannabis is a very different product today. It may be a much more potent product.
Mm-hmm.
You think?
Well, yeah.
Couple of things. If you're going to use edibles, I'll give you some advice. First of all, it takes 2.5 hours before the edible takes effect. So if I think one of these things, idiots go out there and they take some edibles, and then an hour later they say, well, it didn't do anything, and they take some more, and then an hour later, 2 hours in, they go, didn't do shit. I'm going to have some more. And then it starts taking it. I'm telling you, that's what's going on. And so the next thing you know, they're wasted to the point where they're getting sick.
Yeah.
And I think you can probably consume more than you can smoke if you eat it that way. And here's advice number 2, besides that, knowledge. Don't eat anything from this edible collection unless you take a little sample of it and wait 2.5 hours to see what that sample does and then go from there. You can't just start gobbling this stuff down. You get sick as a dog.
I love on this show that you're the one giving marijuana advice.
I'm just giving. I'm acting as a chemist and giving people, at least giving them some idea.
Hold on.
What to do.
I just got to get. I want to see you in your lab coat. Okay, I just want to get the image.
I need to be in the lab coat.
You're in the lab coat, and you have a beaker. You're holding up a beaker.
No, I'm holding up a pointer, and I've got a whiteboard, and I'm telling people how to ingest these things properly so they don't get sick or too wasted to be able to find the Rihanna tracks.
And seriously,
I can't find them. Oh man, now what?
But you are all about the edibles. I know that's what you're doing in Washington. I know you like edibles, but the thing is, it's the dosage. I don't like them
that much. I've taken edibles maybe 5 times over the last 2 years.
The C stands for chemist. We finally know.
But I will say I know enough that you don't take the whole thing. If it's a little chocolate bar, they divide up into 6 pieces. You don't eat a piece of the 6. You eat like a quarter of that piece and see what happens.
And you wait a little bit. Yeah. This is
2.5 hours you wait.
2.5 hours is long. That's quite a long time for it to kick in my experience.
That's pretty much how long it takes.
I remember we got the edibles from our meetup in Colorado, and Tina and I went to maybe I shouldn't tell that story. Never mind. Edibles, yeah, you should try a little bit. Yes, just a little bit.
Yeah, and then you can up the next time.
But I grew
Unless you have to instantly. I mean, there's no reason to take any of these things because you have to get completely wasted that night.
No, but if you're using the holy herb and the magic flower to get wasted, then you're doing it wrong. That's not what it's for.
Colorado, man.
That's not what it's for.
Canada for sure.
I like the dab vape. That's kind of my new thing now.
Yeah, good for I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well,
dab vape.
Yeah, so it's you dispense it through a vape, like a vape pen Only they put the dab, which is the oils you make that's really potent oil. They put that in, and it's basically just sitting on a coil. Kind of weak, but it's strong enough. And they sell the capsules. It's become very sophisticated. Huh. You get a pre-made capsule of the whole thing with a mouthpiece. You screw it right into your battery. You're good to go.
Huh.
Yeah. And it doesn't leave a smell trace the whole time. You can do
that hard to
believe. You can do it anywhere, like in the cockpit. Yeah, you can do it.
I really doubt that it doesn't leave a smell. I really seriously doubt it.
Well, not a lingering smell. Not a lingering smell. Just not a burn smell. Anyway, and that is our tip there.
Yeah, you learned something on this show.
Oh, the more you know. We have the Mexican-American Trade Pact Union thing. Hello, Enrique. We got that going on, and Scandinavia is, of course, involved. And since down here, in the southern poor part of North America, we don't hear any other news other than Trump, Stalin, Nazi. It was nice to hear what you guys are thinking. What's going on up there?
We have been positive and engaged and even constructive and from time to time enthusiastic about the renegotiation of NAFTA. NAFTA is a 25-year-old deal that has many things in it that needed to be updated. So we're glad to be sitting around the table and looking at ways where we can make sure that this is the right deal for all three parties through the beginning of the 21st century. At the same time, we've been very clear. We're going to be thoughtful, constructive, creative around the table, but we are going to ensure that whatever deal gets agreed to is the right deal for Canada and the right deal for Canadians. I understand that the Americans and the Mexicans very much want to try and get things done by Friday, and we're seeing if we can get to the right place by Friday. But as I've said all along, it has to be the right deal for Canada, and that's what we are staying firm on. And quite frankly, what I am so thankful to Canadians right across the country for, because we have stayed united and firm on this mostly, and the support of Canadians throughout the summer for each other, for workers affected, for the challenges we're facing, has really gone a long way towards ensuring that we've been able to stay firm, stay strong, and stand up for Canadian interests.
You guys
said nothing.
You guys are so screwed.
He said nothing.
Exactly.
It took forever to say it.
His edibles kicked in right as he was about to do that.
Yes.
Wasn't that fantastic?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but it's like it's got to be the right deal. My goodness. I'm sure it'll all work out just fine, Justin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it should be okay. There's a couple of notes in the show notes that I do want to mention, since we're not going to get to it today. But these are topics that need to be revisited. One is Venezuela. We've had this producer who would send us stuff about Venezuela every single show, and he sent really long notes, and to pay attention. And there just wasn't all that much news about Venezuela, and I guess he wanted us to be the reporting, which we can't do because we kind of deconstruct other news about stuff. But he has a very long note, deconstructed what happened, and he's back listening to the show, but he concludes with, "I just want you to know that what happened in Venezuela is exactly where the U.S. is now. We're like Venezuela in 1994," he says.
Yeah.
So, I put it in the show notes, nashownotes.com, and you can always find the most recent one there in the archive. And there was
I don't know why people project stuff like that in this country. Oh, you guys are just like Venezuela. This was happening, if you remember, in the quantitative easing era, when it was really cranking it up in 2007, 2008, 2009, and they're pumping money into the economy to buy bonds and prop up the depression that was beginning, and it worked out. But meanwhile, there's all these people, and you can find them. Oh, we're going to have hyperinflation, just like Germany in the 30s. We're going to have hyperinflation, just like Brazil. We're going to have hyperinflation. We had no hyperinflation. We've had no hyperinflation. Where's the hyperinflation?
But you know what?
I'm asking you.
Interestingly, he was talking more about a socialist government. He wasn't even talking about the money.
Hello.
I'm just saying, but hey, you know, it's worth it. Have a read. So
no, the read is fine. I'm just saying that I keep hearing these people projecting their issues on us when we're a completely different animal in terms of economics, governance, everything in between.
Right, which brings me to some feedback on a comment you made about fascism not being in our. I'm paraphrasing. Fascism
not being in our DNA.
Not in our DNA, like Germans.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Harry,
I read that note too. I didn't print it out, but you can read it if you want.
I wanted to read it. I thought it was kind of interesting because it's also.
It seems like the guy just hates Jews.
This must be. Oh, I don't even read that part. You kidding me? I wouldn't read that. No, the thing that he said is Harry. Now that I reread it, yeah, he does hate Jews. Screw the guy. I won't read it.
It's just a Jew hater.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'd actually taken out any offensive stuff. I wasn't going to mention it. But he did say Germans are everywhere. And that's true. Here in Texas, we got whole German towns.
Yeah. I'm not saying Germans aren't everywhere. We had, in the Bay Area, we had the German Bund was a huge thing just before World War II broke out. Mm-hmm. And the Germans had to be rousted. Many of them were thrown in the same kind of detainment camps that the Japanese were put in. Of course, they didn't complain about it so much. And it was like a huge problem with the Germans. But most of them they really take a liking to the way that we do things, and they're not going to turn into Nazis like, they might easily do. The culture is different. Our American culture is different than the German culture.
Yes.
When I said DNA, he immediately took that to mean the genetic makeup. Yeah, we have a lot of German DNA in the American makeup. Yes, that's true. But culturally, we're so alien that I don't see, although if you read the It Can't Happen Here by Sinclair Lewis, you might get a different impression. But that never happened. And, of course, that was a communist takeover.
Right.
But, socialism, communism, what difference does it make?
Yeah. And then...
I know he took offense.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, rereading the note, I'm right. It's not worth it. What is worth discussing briefly is it looks like net neutrality in California is going to happen.
Yeah, that's great.
You'll be how messed up is California going to be once they put net neutrality in? I can't wait. This is beautiful.
I'm waiting, looking forward to it.
I mean, the tech guys must be all giddy with it, all excited to see how well this does and keeping everything fair. And it's just going to be fabulous. I hope to see a lot of reporting on this grand experiment you're going to try up there.
Well, it's going to make everyone have to do it. We also have this other thing. This is the California bail bond change, which is really, I think, this is something that's going to affect everybody because everyone's going to start thinking about doing this.
The state of California took a landmark step toward criminal justice reform today as Governor Jerry Brown signed a bill that would eliminate cash bail for those awaiting trial. Marisa Lagos of public television station KQED has been covering this story, and she joins me now. Marisa Lagos, welcome. So just quickly, who was behind this effort? And what exactly would this new law do?
Well, this is a change that was backed by the governor, the chief justice of the court system here, and a majority of the legislature, as well as some criminal justice groups. It would basically eliminate cash bail as of October 2019 and replace it with a system that gives judges a lot more discretion. They would be guided by risk assessment tools that would decide whether someone's a low, medium, or high risk for release. But ultimately, unless somebody was a misdemeanor defendant, in which case they would be automatically released, or very high risk or facing a violent felony, the judges would really make that call. And so it has been a controversial. Wow. Some people think it's giving judges too much power.
So again, this would apply in all criminal criminal allegations?
That's right. I mean, this is a huge sea change. We've seen some other changes in other states that doesn't go this far.
They're going to use an algo.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So this is only for state stuff, right? Not federal court.
I don't know. I probably, yeah. I think Fed's got some other. They have their own system.
Wow. So you can also say, like, you have to. Your bail will be curfew, or you have to do the chores, your sister's chores.
Yeah, yeah. The bail bonds guys are all out of business as of. But it still will be some money from time to time. Never again. So. No cash at all. That's what it sounds like.
Wow.
No cash. That takes care of the bail bonds guys. And, California's always been kind of against this whole thing. It's illegal to be a bounty hunter in California. Dog the bounty hunter, that guy, he can't. Yeah. He comes into California, they'll just arrest him.
Oh, you can't do that? Oh, I didn't know that.
You cannot do bounty hunting in California.
Let me scratch that off the bucket list.
So there's a lot of, so now they're just getting rid of bail altogether. Hey, you're either good to go or you're not good to go.
But it seems like that place is going to devolve into some lawlessness.
I have no idea what's going to happen, but it's an experiment that I guess they've been itching to do for years.
As long as you've got the 1981 Lexus gassed up at all times, I'm okay with you staying.
It's really gassed up, ready to go.
It better be. You got your go bag by the door? Because
I always keep a go bag in the car, in the trunk.
Very good. In the Lexus. Outstanding. Yeah. All right, last clip for me is just congratulating you on how far in the future you can see, and how, well, of course, you are from the future as well. Michael Palin of Monty Python fame was at the Edinburgh TV Festival, and he talked about his experience in North Korea, where he visited. I don't know, maybe did he do a documentary about North Korea?
Not that I know of, but maybe.
Well, what has long been your assertion, which it's now a show assertion at this point, is...
Yeah, it's North Korea is trying to set itself up as a tourist attraction, tourist trap, if you will.
Yes, and this came to you how many years ago? 5? 6? 6 years ago?
At least.
The really key thing I felt about the whole journey is that North Korea, I felt as though they were preparing and they wanted to open up to the rest of the world, because they've had to. They spent all their money on these missiles and all that, the farming, the agricultural and food supplies are very, very scarce out in the countryside. So now they've got to get something back. And therefore they're building great tourist resorts. We saw an airport, an entire airport, which is totally empty. There were no planes there at all. But the airport is built, waiting for people to come to this tourist resort, which it will serve. So, and why build that if they didn't really want to get tourists in from China, maybe from the rest of the world?
And they let you see that.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. And they were prepared to talk about that and say we're going to have wonderful things. And evidently they had people who'd gone to Disneyland in Paris to look at how you build resorts like that, how you design them. So money had been invested in this opening up. So it isn't just a political rapprochement. I think it's something they need for their survival now. But when they do open up, then what happens to the sort of regimented Kim family thought? That people are going to say, well, they do it differently in another part of the world. Maybe we should do it differently. I just don't know. It's a very, very interesting time, I think.
Pretty much nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
It was pretty obvious from the get-go. That's what they were up to. And I still think that if they get their act together, I wouldn't mind having the franchise to sell tickets to that giant, spectacular show.
Oh, yeah, the big show. Yeah, the big show.
Once a year, you could get $1,000 a seat. No problem.
I was thinking about this in our never-ending quest to get out of the podcasting gig and make some real money.
Another exit strategy.
Well, here's the strategy. So we get someone within our network. Somebody can at least go buy up a block of tickets. We need a block of, say, 50 seats. Maybe if we can get 20, we'll take that. And then we're going to do a whole VIP thing. So, we're going to charter this is going to be millionaires, like people who are in the 500,000 plus category. And it's going to be, we'll take care of the whole thing. The lodging, the plane. We'll have our own tents, our yurts.
It's an idea.
Catering. Complete a badge.
Badge.
Platinum badge.
Challenge coin.
Challenge coin. Tote bag. for the starter price of, I think, $7,000. But if it's a couple, then we just do, like 12 or something. Just
I was thinking
about it. 12
right.
It's the sweet spot. Yeah. So get ready. Fire up a newsletter.
Yeah, we start working on it now. Okay, I have my last clip, which is a clip that you're gonna like.
All right.
This is a guy. I just thought this was a good clip. This is a guy complaining about his Tesla.
Okay.
I was fed up with Tesla completely to the point to where today, if they want to touch my car, they're not allowed to touch my car. I'll do my own work on my car now.
Greg Furstenworth wasn't always this frustrated with Tesla.
There's no other car that I would want to own, honestly, than this car.
He pre-ordered the Tesla Model S, and when he got the car in 2013, he was a total superfan. He even drove it across the country before there was a supercharger network.
I don't think many people have not reset their trip indicator, and so when you look here, I've got 135,004 miles on there, and the entire time that I've used the car, 46,368.9 kilowatts. Tesla usually called me, actually, at that time. They'd call me and tell me, hey, we noticed that there's a little bit something going wrong with your car. Or when I had my flat, they did their courtesy roadside service. They really took care of me, actually, as original pre-order. As soon as I exceeded my warranty period, the help, kindness, interactions all went away. I was treated like I didn't even really own a Tesla.
Early adopters like Greg are the first to deal with Tesla service for the Model S out of warranty. Tesla recommends all repairs go through its own service centers or authorized providers. For Greg, that means killing a day driving to the nearest shop.
I actually saw this entire clip, saw the video of it.
Yeah.
And it was real. I sent it to the former New York banker even. I said, look at this bullet you dodged. But the guy really loves his Tesla. He doesn't mind fixing it himself. So
he says he could fix his door handle stopped working.
Yeah.
So Tesla says they're going to charge him $1,000 to replace the door handle. The ones
he did it for like $70.
$75.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was really an eye opener. It's like, they think they're it's like Lamborghini. I mean, but it's not a Lamborghini. It's an everyday car.
Yeah, it's like a Lego set. All right, everybody. Thank you for celebrating my birthday with me. Of course, tomorrow is the actual day. And maybe one of my last, depending on how the black hole of the Large Hadron Collider trip goes. But for now, coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State in the FEMA region number 6 on the governmental maps, here in the 5x9 Cludio in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday with another episode filled with deconstruction. Until then, remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. And until next time, adios, mofos!
Excuse me, Adam, but the Greys are here with the results of your anal probe. Sorry, Adam, it's not the Greys. They're due here next Tuesday. It's actually the gays that are here with the results of your anal probe. You haven't seen a couple of frogs in... Oh, there they are. Quick, hurry up. These guys really know how to party.
Donate to a no agenda. They give us just week after week. Donate to a no agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a no agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a no agenda. Science is turning into a clique. Roll up for
demonstration. The magical shape-shifting Jews. Roll out. It's such an aggravation. The magical shape-shifting Jews.
Hit it.
Back to the bong. You know how if you smoke weed, how music can sound different?
Yeah.
It's a trip.
Oh, that's where you get the bong.
I got the bong.
Hey, man. I'm a lightweight. Can I have a little waist up? Reefer.
Did anyone see you in this state?
No, I'm for reefer. I'm going to go listen to Rihanna.
Good morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was admitted. There was no law, no regulations.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary.
Nothing was marked classified.
There is evidence of tremendous
classified.
Now let me tell you what we found. 110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains.
It was a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret.
Was it the best choice?
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
With respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top
not a
secret.
good choice.
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
The best podcast in the universe.
Hopo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Happy birthday!